This interview was not only better, it was more of a pleasure to conduct, sir. Yes.
Anytime.
Okay.
It's always good to talk to another asshole.
Got it right here.
All right, this is Jerry Fitzwater, and I am here with two dangerous men. I mean, we have the Grim Reaper and your newly acquired manager, Don Tony. And now this is, I gotta ask you, are you nervous? You're facing Jason Static tonight in your match with Jason Static. Are you nervous? I don't know.
Listen. I didn't bring my stupid dictionary with me, so I'm not even going to answer that question. He beat him the last show. Why would he not want to face him again? Beat him again. What are you stupid?
Ask yourself, Nest Head. Explain something. Who is in charge of this federation that will book another match between me and some scrub that I beat the crap out of, left him in the ring, cannolis all in his face? Let me tell you something. You're not Vince McMahon. You can't do this. Let me tell you something, Jay Static. You could do all the push-ups in the world, you could do all the sit-ups, and whatever extra activity they do in Gold's Gym. Let me explain something to you. I'm a natural killer, all right? I'm here to kill you. I'm taking you out. There's going to be no more Jay Static in VPW. There should be no more weirdo, creepo-looking punks like you. I got my man right here. We got the power.
HBOZ, baby.
It's over with, Static. You understand? Explain something. If you talk like that again to me, you're gonna get slapped. I want to hear your normal voice. I want to hear your...
This is my normal voice,
okay.
and I have my degree in journalism.
Let me tell you something where we come from. When we come from, we don't just whack someone, we disfigure them. So Jason, you're stupid enough to accept the challenge again. Next time, we're gonna disfigure you. HBOZ.
All day, every day.
That's right. Cosa Nostra has just begun.
All right, well, there you have it. All right, that's not necessary. Come on now.
Tu madre et faccia la carne.
Oh, come on now. I don't know what he said, but it sounded pretty devious. Jerry Fitzwater. Oh, hey!
You're dead, Stat.
By the way, that was my brother. The guy I just kissed, that was my brother. Oh, he's still with us, but that was my brother. Back onto the show.
All right. This is Jerry Fitzwater, and I am here with...
Let me tell you something, Jake.
I have my... Hey!
You're dead, Stat.
What is this? I'm not sure. What is he doing? That's Don Tony, and that's Reefer giving a hero, but it seems that
that's a superhero right there.
That is, but I mean they're only giving it.
Sandwich. That is a big sandwich.
It's a fantastic looking sandwich, but they're giving it only to this section right here. What about the rest of these people? What about me? What about me and my hunger for sandwiches?
Why are you coming over with guardrail? Oh, Stone Cold with the middle finger. Hey, fat boy, what's up, Paul? What are you doing? Huh?
It's not nice, Paul.
Look at you, shady. Oh, you like shady, huh? You want to you know what
he likes Slim Shady.
Does everybody know what
I like Slim Shady.
No,
I don't know exactly who Slim Shady is.
Well, the real Slim Shady, please. Get me a beer.
All day, every day.
You Captain, you're a professional.
With your freaking mohawk.
I don't know, I've been known to be a bit of a wild man.
Just break your girlfriend's arm, she don't want to get action, huh? Yeah. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. What do you want to do? Come in the ring. Come in the ring. You landed from the front, not here. Yeah, okay. Sit down, because I'm going to throw up. Cowboys, all right, what are you doing over there, Bo? Let's go from over here. Let's go take it to Taco Bell. Don't forget to buy my shirt over there, Grim Reaper all day, HBOZ. What are you looking at, fat boy? What are you looking at, kid? What do you want to do? Look at this guy. You got a tattoo of just crud on your arm.
That's a shot of John Coffee.
Yo,
I know that, man.
Let me tell you something. All of a sudden, I see this little cheap flying guy. This is my name, Grim Reaper. The best lightweight, the best heavyweight, the best wrestler in Queens. Undeniable. All right? I'm facing Jay Static again. Exactly who? Jay Static. He's going to electrocute me. Nice. Let me tell you something. Great success.
These fans love Jay Static.
Why is the booker? Just shut your mouth, fat section. Shut your mouth, fatty fats. I mean, fat people. That's freaking flies in the
These guys, I mean, I've said some, things I regret, after an evening of the bar, but this is insulting.
Push-ups a day, Static. Why is that happening when we just beat him? First of all, I should be the heavyweight champion of the world, but guess what? There is no buck in this fed. So I should go to Video Game Central, located in Howard Beach, Queens, and buy one of those styrofoam belts to come out with next time, right? Antoine, buy one for me. Tell these guys what we're going to do tonight while I sip my fucking coke. For these people that don't realize it, every single one of these people over here are my own family from Howard Beach. That's right. Howard Beach, HBOZ. That's right. Howard Beach, baby. And let me tell you something, for all you people over here, I promise you, this Jason Wu is going to kick his ass down.
Oh, no, he doesn't know. Wait, that's Jay Static behind him. Uh-oh. Oh, indeed. Uh-oh. Oh, my God, no. Oh. Insulted Don Tony right in front of the Howard Beach fans. Oh, my God. What? Man is in trouble. Oh, goodness, no. Don Tony did not expect this. Oh, my God. What is going on?
That gentleman in the green shirt is P.O.
I don't know. Oh my God!
I don't know what he's so angry about, huh? He's a handsome young fella.
He's put together, Jay Static.
I don't know what he has to be so mad about.
He's angry because people infuriated him. My God, Patty, keep up.
Tonight, it's me and you. Bringing you only Trey, bringing some heroes. But tonight, Static is going over all of you, buddy.
Oh, God, it's some strong words from Jason Static.
How do we catch that? You catch that, Earl?
I don't know.
I get a word.
That was a ball of fury, is what it was. There he is. Now he is put together. Look at that man. Oh my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Every Thursday night, you ask the questions, DT gives you his answers. No holds barred.
It's Q&A with Don Tony. This is your chance to speak your mind and be heard about anything.
Q&A with Don Tony. And now, your host, Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony.
Truth be told, I uploaded the wrong clip. It was only supposed to be 2.5 minutes. I saw 7 and I'm like, oh, but I was able to go grab myself a beverage, grab the shirt. I know a lot of you wanted to see it. Remember this? couple of weeks ago, a lot of people were asking Ethan Page, where'd you get that shirt? It's an awesome shirt. Where'd you get the shirt? And for some weird reason, he didn't answer anybody. He answers everybody for other things, but would not tell them where he got the shirt. So I decided, all right, I got to be the investigative journalist and hunt down that shirt. I got it. Now we know why Ethan Page did not tell anybody about this shirt. $15. That's all it is. $15. It's not even cotton. It's like, I don't know, it's like the inside of like a jacket, and it's like 2 sizes too small. So I have to return it. So be warned, everyone. It's a nice shirt. I absolutely love the shirt. I don't know if Ethan Page was just embarrassed to tell people that he was wearing a $15 shirt. And I'll be honest with you. You know, me, I like my M&Ms without peanuts. But Ethan Page makes a $15 shirt look like a $100 shirt. You ever see, you know, I haven't had a chance to do it yet. Any of you out there know what it means to cook sous vide? You know sous vide? Where you take like meats and you seal it in like one of those food saver bags, and then you put it in water at a certain temperature for a bunch of hours. Sous vide. And supposedly you could take $5 steaks and make them taste like $100 steaks. So I got myself one of those sous vide machines back on Black Friday in November. I never took it out of the box. I'm going to actually use it this weekend, because I have to really start conserving fundage, especially if I'm going to get married next year. I actually got to meet with the hall this Saturday to start setting up a date. And I want to try to fit in some AEW tickets as well. Now, I don't know what's going to go on as far as AEW when they come here to Arthur Ashe Stadium in August. I will tell you this. We will definitely all be meeting up in the parking lot. We will definitely be hanging out at different parts during the night. I don't know if anybody's going to hang out after the show, maybe go to some local bars. I got to get in touch with JD from New York, because I know JD is putting some stuff together, and he's not one to talk out of his ass. I know some of you may not like his style, but that guy is authentic. That guy says he's going to do something. He don't do it for tweet fucks. In fact, if you notice on social media, he actually would rather not have conversations with whack jobs out there. So I'm going to get in touch with him, but tickets go on sale tomorrow. I might just get a skybox. I might just get front row tickets. I'm seriously thinking about going as deli man. I'm not kidding. But I definitely want to hang out with all of you that's going to be able to go. I'm just really disappointed that AEW never even acknowledged any of my messages. This is the second time now. It's the second time. They did that shit in Chicago, and I'm like, look, you know, I know over the years I've ruffled a lot of feathers, you know, and I know that this aura of myself, especially in the past, that people built, you know, accused me of some horrible stuff, but I mean, come on, what you see is what you get. I mean, I'm authentic here. There's no evil, there's no malice, there's nothing. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I tell you, you know, last week was bizarre. Last week was absolutely bizarre. It was cool bizarre. And I know the haters can't stand when I talk about stuff like this. But, you know, I joked with Mish 2 weeks ago that I would love to be on the last Thunderdome, but I was going away. And I said, I'd love to be doing Deli Man on Thunderdome, but if they're going to do that on Raw, I got to get one of those red Raw shirts, and then I want to be front and center. And next thing I know, the next day, I get an alert that WWE is shipping me a shirt. Now, I don't know who shipped it, but when I joked and said, okay, now you got to come through. Now you got to put me front and center. And the weirdest thing about it, and I know this is petty for a lot of you out there, and I know Thunderdome for the most part sucked. Let's be honest. Thunderdome was a Band-Aid, and live fans are back, and I hope to never see Thunderdome be needed again. But this last Monday, they had me on Thunderdome right exactly where I wanted to be, which I thought was hilarious. Because if you watch it, you know, they always tell you in your earpiece, don't wear anything that's not WWE. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And I honestly said, there's no way they're going to put a guy behind the announcer's table wearing a luchador mask that says DM on it. They have no idea what that is, you know, and then dressing up like a deli person with lots of stuff behind me, Don Tony sign and everything, and they do it. And then they sent me an invite to SmackDown, but I was going to be away last week, obviously. But then they asked me if they could use some of the footage from last week for this past Monday's Raw. I'm like, yeah, just make sure you put me front and center. And the entire night Monday, they had me behind the announcer's table again. But for some weird reason, the last ever match that took place on Thunderdome was Rhea Ripley versus Natalya. And 99.9% of Raw this past Monday, you found yours truly behind the announcer's table. But for some weird reason that I honestly can't explain, they took the image of me and put it right in the center just for the finish of this match. I don't know what purpose that was. Yes, the little kid in me kind of popped a little bit because somebody there said, you got to take Deli Man and we got to put him just for the last part of the entire Raw, the last match. So I don't know. Are they trying to win me over a little bit? They don't have to win me over. I've been a WWF fan since 1979. But I absolutely got a kick out of it. You know what I got a kick out of even more? I don't know if you noticed it, but for the 3 weeks that Deli Man was on Thunderdome, all those jealous, overgrown baby bitches out there were completely absent tweeting about those WWE shows during those episodes, because that's how petty it is that I'm in there doing Deli Man, just having fun, because that's what life should be about, just having fun. You know, I don't think you should go through each day just ripping the world and criticizing it. Goldberg. We just had this conversation 6 months ago. Do you remember the conversation? Goldberg was shown on Thunderdome. They put him on one of the LED screens. Early in the day, he teased that you might see Goldberg on Raw, on Thunderdome. Go do some advanced Twitter searches, everyone, to that day that Goldberg was seen on Thunderdome, and look at the baby reactions of a lot of haters out there. I mean, just triggered beyond belief because Goldberg may show up on Raw. It ended up he was on an LED screen, and all these people had their balls in a bunch for nothing. And I remember that conversation, and it's like, man, you know, a show is not, every wrestler, every aspect of it is not for one person. And I always talk about the formula. That goes around. Somebody ODs. Somebody kills themselves. I'm sorry for being so blunt about it. Somebody commits suicide. Oh, we got to be better to each other. We got to be nice to each other. Can't we all get along? Everybody has a right to like what they like and this and that. And we should be better than this. We should be better than this. And everybody's like, you're right, we got to be better than this. You know, just because I don't like AEW doesn't mean that that person can't like AEW. And this person loves, you know, Kenny Omega and loves this person, but maybe they don't love it. But we're all wrestling fans at the end of the day. We're all wrestling fans at the end of the day. Then a couple of weeks go by. A little joke gets sneaked in here. A little joke gets thrown in here. A little joke gets thrown in here. A little tiny harmless insult and the next thing you know, it's right back to the awful, nasty shit. Until the next person blows their brains out or has a severe issue with depression. It's sick. It's sick. And Goldberg is this much of what we have on TV. This much. We talked about it early this year. The guy has a couple of years left on his contract, and he has 2-3 matches a year. This isn't breaking news. We knew this a year and a half ago. At some point, this is the combo we had 6 months ago, at some point, Goldberg is going to be on TV. That's his contract. All these people get their balls in a bunch again. So just really ripping this guy to pieces. And I think it's so fucking sad. They hate the show. They hate 90% of Raw. So what is Goldberg? If you already can't stand it, why can't they just change the channel? Go watch baseball. Go watch hockey. Go watch basketball. And speaking of basketball, AEW yesterday had 1,025,000 viewers. A little higher than I thought it was going to be. Props to them. Notice something today. Yesterday was what? Game 4 of the NBA Finals? Notice how nobody is even bringing up the NBA Finals? Because today you got the AEW nipple. 950,000 viewers, 800,000 viewers, 1 million. Instead of saying, could you imagine how many more viewers they would have gotten yesterday if the NBA Finals didn't take? Wait a minute. How could they score such an incredible number up against the NBA Finals? But wait. They always blame sports and other things. The January 6th insurrection. Biden has something to say, but can't remember it. The NBA Finals. This draft day. Every time there's a bad rating, they always got to bring up what's on the other TVs. Yesterday, they get 1,025,000, and nobody brings up the NBA Finals. What was so different? This is why you got to just really, really stay away from these people, man. Seriously. Because they got nothing to do. Too much free time on their hands. You know, usually you, me, and a lot of us out there, you know, in the afternoon, we might be on a lunch break, coffee break. For some of you out there that work nights, I can only imagine what that feels like. But then again, I know some of you absolutely love working nights. But it's weird how these people, almost like they don't sleep. They're like bats. Well, but no, bats do sleep during the day. Like 24/7, 365. They get all this free time, talk about Goldberg and this and that. It's just, why are they forced to watch Goldberg? I like Goldberg. It's not that bad. I mean, the match with The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia was horrendous. But this is a contract that he's got with WWE. It's going to happen again next year. This should not be a surprise for anybody out there. If anything, maybe it's good that it happens now. Get it over with. Get it done. He only has 2 matches a year, maybe 3 at the most. You don't have to worry about him going on an 11-0 run again. The worst case scenario is Goldberg is 2-1 every year. That's the worst case scenario. If he's got 3 matches a year, the worst case scenario is he goes 2-1. Because if he goes 3-0, he ain't going for no championships. They're not going to have him go undefeated and then have no match for a whole year after that. I know it's sacrilegious to say, but man, I wish they would have a GoFundMe or some type of auction. Win this auction, you could book one match in WWE. You know what I would do just to be a prick? I would have Goldberg beat Walter for the title. Seriously. I want Goldberg spear Walter, you know? And when he spears him, they do it in slow motion. You know, when he chops people and you just see their skin go. I want Goldberg to spear, and I fucking love Walter, but just to see people online lose their shit. It's pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment. Be a fan. Don't be a bitch. Oh, my God. And you know what's the worst part about it? And I know you all see this. You'll see younger fans tweet their favorites that lose a match or might be in a storyline, and they will show support and show love, and they'll, say you'll get them next time, and you always get some wise ass like, you do know that this is scripted, right? Yeah, when I grew up, you know about my Uncle Joe. Different era, different century. But you got younger fans out there that communicate with their favorites as if this is real. And they're laughed at many times. But Karrion Kross takes on Johnny Gargano, and all the people that can't stand smaller guys getting any legitimate runs. You would have thought that this was like a John Wick or whatever, that you killed their pet and then brought it back to life with Pet Sematary and then killed it again. I mean, they get so goddamn triggered. This is sports entertainment. Whether Kross lost to Gargano, whether Kross loses to Joe, whether Kross gets stripped, whether Kross does this, sooner or later, Karrion Kross is going to lose a match. And people are like, no, he can't lose for years. No, he should break Goldberg's streak. He should retire undefeated. It's fucking sports entertainment. I'd rather see someone lose and it makes sense than to have somebody lose simply because they should lose. Because this doesn't fit this. Everybody that can't stand Gargano were making fun of the size difference between Gargano and Kross. But because they like Xia Li, they kept their fucking mouths shut about Xia Li with Raquel Gonzalez. Did you see that? I'm sorry for the bad props. I know we did this yesterday. This is Xia Li, and this is Raquel Gonzalez. And Xia Li is like, that's what it looks like. That's the size difference. Holy shit. Did you notice how they were all silent yesterday? They were all silent yesterday. Or Tuesday. I know I don't like the sports entertainment term, Harris. I'm with you. It's pro wrestling. We know what pro wrestling is. When you put the pro before wrestling, we know what it is. It's the entertainment version of wrestling. I know. But they've been saying sports entertainment since the 80s. So I'm kind of like, used to it now. As long as you interpret it what you want it to be, that's all that matters. Much love for everybody who is joining me live tonight. Contest tonight. Winner actually will be next week. But I thought of a little hybrid way for all of you that tune in live have a better chance of winning. When I do contests, I make it even for everybody. But I'm going to do something tonight that's going to be a little bit different. First off, before I do anything, remember this contest from 3 weeks ago? Or no, this one? Remember this? I didn't ship it out yet. The winner knows why I didn't ship it out yet. I have not done this show on Thursday since 2 weeks ago. And since some of you tune in to just Thursdays, I thought it was only fair that I address a Thursday contest on the Thursday show. Let me explain to everybody what happened. Remember that like crossword puzzle thing or whatever that we did? And the correct answer was R.K. Bro D. Lee Marshall Von Erich. R.K. Brody Lee Marshall Von Erich. See how it's smooth? It all continues into something else. R.K. Brody Lee Marshall Von Erich. Well, I had announced that Steak and Eggs was the winner. And I had several people after that basically say, DT, that is incorrect. And one person in particular gave me a screenshot and said, he said RKO, not RK Bro. So there were some very unhappy people out there. But even though there was multiple people that brought that to my attention, I could only look at the first person who actually did get the answer correct. And that was Jose Marrero. I think his name is Franchise. Good guy. Good guy. I mean, you know, if I'm participating in a contest and I feel I won, of course, I would want you to speak up. So rather than have any controversy about it, Steak and Eggs, I'm shipping this out tomorrow. I know actually, wait a minute. I made screenshots of them. So Steak and Eggs, you're going to get this tomorrow. That is the actual one. And Franchise, who actually did get the contest correct, he's going to get this one. They're both pretty cool. They're both limited to 50, and they're both legitimate autographs and in perfect condition. So Franchise gets the one on the right, Steak and Eggs gets the one on the left. So that's how we, put them in a ladder match. put them in a ladder match. So that's the deal. I want to let you know what the prize is for this week's contest and how we're going to do it. I'm going to tell you right now so you get a little early advance as far as how this is going to go. I brought up an idea yesterday, and everybody who was tuning in loved the idea. In fact, not one person, when I looked back at the replay, not one person said, I don't like the idea. What we're going to do with the contest for this week, we hit two birds with one stone. All you have to do to participate in the contest is just post a comment after the show is over in the comment section. And the reason why I'm doing it that way is because people have told me in the past, DT, you did that early on and you stopped. The more comments that are posted, the more it also helps, to get the show a little more exposure on YouTube. And yes, I say it all the time, 85 to 90% of everybody who tunes in doesn't go on YouTube. They do the audio only. Well, because I'm doing video and all of you out there who spend hours and hours and hours on these shows, that's why I put the contest here. So here's how we're going to do it. After the show tonight, you have the whole week. You don't have to run and do it tonight. You have the whole week. Post a comment in the comment section. Now, in the past, I picked a winner randomly. I showed you the video as far as everything that went down, unedited, so you could see how it was picked. But now, because I'm a little bit better with the technology here, I can pick a winner live on the show. So how do you who tune in live with me every single week, how do you get a little bit of an advantage on this? Well, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. I'm old. Next week, live on the show. Probably do it halfway through the show, maybe at the very end of the show. I don't know when, but we'll find the right moment. I will pick somebody live. I will do the screenshot, the screen capture so you could see my screen. It'll be live. I will pick a winner at random. And that person has to be live in the chat room to claim their prize. And I know it sounds pretty fucked up, but maybe somebody even told me, give them 60 seconds. If they're hanging out live and they're in the chat room, give them 60 seconds, give them 5 minutes to claim their prize in the chat. If they're not live, then you pick someone else. This way, someone who tunes in every week that always hangs out, you have obviously a much bigger chance of winning because if you're already live, if your name is picked, you're right there in the chat room. You say, I'm here. So now what are we giving away? I looked at all the cameos to see who is fairly reasonable. And I thought, wow, there's really one person more than anyone else I think people would think would be stupendous, splendid. Whoever wins this contest will get a cameo, an autographed photo, and a shirt of Matt Hardy. You get all three. You get a shirt, you pick the shirt, you pick the size, you get this signed photo of Matt Hardy. I know anybody that went to the big event a year and a half ago, those were the photos that he was signing at that time. You'll get that also. And you will get a cameo video from Matt Hardy. I will get in touch with Matt. And if there's anything specific you would like for him to say on the video, you just have to email me privately and say, DT, I would really love it if he could, give a shout out to this or this. I don't care what you want. As long as it's nothing over the top where he's like, no, I don't think so. So that's the deal. Cameo, photo, shirt. We'll pick someone live next week and I don't know. I'll let you all. Actually, in the community section, I'll put up a poll this weekend. Should we give them 60 seconds, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes to claim their prize? They don't answer. Sorry. So that's what we're going to do. And if this goes off really, really well, then we may upgrade it to someone else. I do have a signed photo of him. Obviously, we could get a shirt. And he's on Cameo, so maybe we'll do him next. Muhammad is saying, what about people that live overseas? Yeah, why not? I ship overseas all the time. There's a lot of people tuning in right now. VJ, who I think is live, got the AEW heavyweight title from me. I had to ship it to Canada. I don't mind. I've shipped stuff to Abu Dhabi already. It's fine. I don't limit things to just the United States. If it's something that, really is going to be difficult to send overseas, yeah, then I might limit it to, no, this is open to everybody. You all out there support me. It shouldn't be based on zip code. And by the way, Mohammed, everyone out there, I'm going to bore you for 15, 20 seconds. I promise you it's no more than 20 seconds. We were talking the other day. Mohammed had called in and was talking a little bit about the culture in Saudi Arabia. And as far as, women with WWE, we talked about that. And, I had explained that every time I drive my fiance home, I go through a neighborhood that's pretty much just all Indian. And I get gas there. I go in and get something to drink. I go to the local store. We buy food. And we don't look at anybody different. It's just what it is. And I had said the other day, I said, Mohammed, I'm going to take a little screen capture of the video from my dash cam going through that neighborhood. This was a bitch. I never realized how hard it is to download video from a dash cam because the dash cam has got to be connected to Wi-Fi and oh my God. But just bear with me for 20 seconds. I just wanted, because, when I say I'm going to do something, I always try to do it. This is actual dash cam footage of me after I dropped my fiance home. This is 2 blocks away from her house. And I was talking about how, especially in this neighborhood, that's 98% Indian, everybody's wearing a mask. You go 5 minutes later, where my neighborhood is, 98% of the people are not wearing a mask. So I know some of you were curious to see it. Yeah. The beeping is because I don't wear a seatbelt sometimes. You'll see when I get to the red light. Just pay attention. You'll see see on the right, You see the dress? You see everybody wearing a mask? I go to that store right across the street. Nobody looks at me weird. I don't look at them weird. You just respect other people's culture. Plain and simple. You just respect other people's culture. This is her neighborhood. This is 2 blocks away from her house. Yeah. So I figured you'd want to see that. You know, because I've described this before, my neighborhood. I think the light turned green, and I think I almost hit those 2 people on the left, but you know, we'll just leave it at that. So unintentionally. But, you know, you got to respect other people's culture. Whether they dress different, they believe in different things. You know, what may seem radical to us is not radical to them. What seems radical to them about us is not radical. Everybody is different. Oh, you're very welcome, Mohammed. I said that I was going to do that the other day. I felt the need to deliver. It was only 20 seconds. So anyway, I promised you all we were going to take calls early today, and I am going to take calls. I would just like to shout out some very special people. And we're going to finish a little earlier tonight, only because, don't read too much into this, I got to get fingerprinted tomorrow. I swear to God, I got to get fingerprinted. I'll explain why in a minute. But before I explain that, shout out to AS7607. Oh, much love, much love. I appreciate it. I did read your emails. The story about the Hulk Hogan figure was really, really cool. I mean, when I talk about, you know, the Roddy Piper figure being my pretty much only figure that I gave a shit about back in the day, she told me a really fun story about Hulk Hogan figure. Also, as far as you getting hit with fraud, somebody buying an iPhone, I should have taken it out. Maybe I can. Maybe I can, because the address is not even mine. And maybe I got to be careful. You know what I'll do? I'll screenshot the email and I'll show it to you next week. About 10 years ago, I get an email from Verizon saying that my cell phones have been shipped. What cell phones? What are you talking about? I had an account with Verizon, but they said my cell phones were shipped. And I'm like, I didn't order no cell phones. And they're like, no, we have delivery tomorrow. And they give me some address in Brooklyn, New York. And I said, what identification did they provide to place this order? And they wouldn't tell me. I said, wait a minute, this is my fucking account. And somebody's placing a fraudulent order, and you can't tell the account holder what information was used. I wanted to know what information they had that actually got Verizon to believe, so they wouldn't answer me. So I told the woman, I swear on God. I told the woman, I said, you know what? I said, that's no problem. I'm going to sit in front of the fucking person's house. And if anybody walks out of that house and accepts that order, I'm going to shove the fucking phones up their ass. She's like, sir, you cannot do that. You'll get arrested. I'm like, fuck you. And I hung up the phone. The next day, I drove to Brooklyn, New York. It was like East 70-something Street. And I pull up, and I parked in front of the house, and I just looked. I didn't have the balls to ring the bell. I just sat there for about an hour. And I'm like, okay, when is FedEx going to show up? After an hour and a half, they never showed up. I'm like, I got things to do, and I left. It ends up that Verizon was able to cancel the shipment. They contacted FedEx and said, do not ship it, it's fraud. But somebody ordered a whole bunch of phones and gave them an address in Brooklyn. Now, to this day, I don't know if they actually lived there, or maybe somebody was just going to like stand in front of the house. Yeah, that's my package, and sign for it and then disappear. But some motherfucker did that 10 years ago. Thank God nothing like that has ever happened again, but shit happens, man. No joke. 2 days ago, I get an alert at like 6 o'clock in the morning that I authorize a charge for 16 cents for some medical waste facility in Jersey. I'm like, no. But I had to think about it at first. I'm like, did I buy anything online from Amazon that would be 16 cents? And then I wrote, no. So tomorrow they're delivering a new card to me. I don't know what it is. 16 cents. It's my debit card. And that scares the shit out of me because that's linked to my checking account. I don't have too much money in there, but still. Shit happens, man. There's a lot of fraud going on. You got to be careful. And you got to be so goddamn careful about these text messages and emails. Because the other day, what was it? I got an alert. I think it was from, what the hell was it from? Oh, American Express. Asking me, and it had the last 4 digits of my account number. And it said, did you sign in and check it? And I selected no. And it gave me a link and said, contact this number. So I go on Google and I type the phone number in and it says that it's fraud. Somehow they got the last 4 digits of my account and they actually sent me a link. Did I just sign in on the, no. I immediately changed the password and that's it. They buy lists. They buy lists. What I think happens, once in a while you hear about like McAfee or another site, their security gets breached or compromised. I think what happens is they sell lists from like other sites that you may have bought stuff from in the past, and they use like the last 4 digits to try to get you to reveal the rest of it. And you know what? I got my fucking phone here. I just realized it. I'm going to call the number. And when you hear the number, it says, please enter your social security number. When you call a credit card company for fraud, the one thing they don't ask you for is your social security. I forgot. I got my phone right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. I know, look, this is Q&A. This isn't like wrestling news today, so hopefully nobody is a little annoyed that I'm doing this, but just to show you in real time. Hold on. Here. Okay, here. You can hear this. Let's pull this up. It's Capital One. It was Capital One. It wasn't American Express. Look, I'm going to dial a number. I'm just going to click one link. Watch. Call. Let me know if you can hear this.
Thank you for calling Capital One's customer protection team. We need to verify some recent activity on your account. To continue in English, press 1.
Para continuar en español.
Please enter your social security number or your tax ID number so that we can retrieve your case information.
I'm going to put a fake number in here. I'll put 125962287.
Thank you. Please hold while we verify your information. We were unable to verify your information.
Because the last 4 digits aren't the same.
Please enter your social security number or your tax ID.
Freaking text message right here. I don't know if you could all see that screen. I got this at, what time did I get this? 6:13 a.m. Here. Yeah. I ain't revealing nothing. 6:13 a.m. Text message. Scary shit. I got to make sure that there's no personal information. I did that once. I did a screenshot of something. I think it was a Patreon show. I did a screenshot of something, and it revealed my fiance's cell phone number. And I ended the show like 30 seconds later, and I pulled the fucking video down. And I didn't put it up for like 12 hours. I had to edit that little, nobody got it. Nobody got it, but sometimes I'm a little careless. I try to be a little bit, I'm an open book. I think people have realized that. And I do get people say to me, DT, you reveal too much information sometimes. It's all good. It's all good. The Russian hackers. By the way, Scammer Revolts on YouTube, he's back. He's done 3 videos. And I got a shout out to a scam, somebody who exposes scammers. He did that beautiful artwork a couple of weeks ago. He has that disability. And he did, I joked, I was serious, but I said, now you got to do one of myself and Mish. Well, he did some awesome artwork. I'm going to share it with everybody on Monday. So, but thank you, AS7607. And again, you know, really, really sad about Paul Orndorff's passing. That was her favorite wrestler. And I know most of you out there already know the story about a couple of weeks ago with the Money in the Bank stuff. But again, he's out of his pain. He's out of his misery. He's not suffering. You know, that doesn't really, you know, console a lot of people out there. But, you know, thank God we have a whole legacy of his career out there on video that we could watch and enjoy. And believe me, that's why the last couple of shows I played that 10-second clip of Paul Orndorff. That was the interview that we did in 2003. Since 2003, I have said on these shows hundreds of times, that is my all-time favorite interview that I have ever was involved in with him. I mean, I've been on podcasts with hilarious shit with New Japan, but those weren't interviews. That was just shows and people enjoying themselves. This was a flat-out interview. And how we got it, you know, you already know the story. But, you know, he appreciated him being an asshole, and I say that with love. Him being an asshole, he appreciated when someone else was just as much of an asshole. That guy was legit a good guy, man. Very, very proud American. I have no idea if he was Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter. He was a proud American. He lived in America, so he's a proud American. That little aspect, 99.9% of everyone out there would not even know about unless you knew him personally. And again, it really angered me the other day that I actually had to take a pause and say, this is going to piss people off. Like, you know how divided our world is right now, that simply saying that somebody's a proud American, does that immediately, like, go into a category? You know, like, I don't know if he liked Trump or not. I don't know, you know, I know what his, you know, his affiliation was in 03. I don't know if it changed since then. But man, when you can't talk about being proud to be an American or proud to be Irish, proud to be Italian, proud to be Muslim, proud to be black, proud to be this, proud to be that, that suddenly that's racist because you're putting, oh man. It's bizarro land everywhere, everybody. Shout out to Roger Rubio. You're very welcome, my friend. And as I've said 1,000 times over, all of you out there that tune into the shows, post comments, refer the show to others, tweet, PM, DM, email, super chat, regular chat. Now, very soon, Discord. We're going to do the official launch this weekend. No party hats and no cupcakes or anything. But we are going to officially launch the Discord this weekend. There's a couple of things. I actually integrated Twitch today, although I don't know how much I'm going to be using it. But some of you are out there already emailing me saying, DT, you got to go on Twitch and play games. Even if you suck at them, just going on the headset and just play games and fail miserably, people will still love it. So we may actually do that after all, because Mish said he will do it too. So I'm very, very humble and appreciative of your support out there. And the fact that I was able to help, you know, in some small way to get your mind off of all the horrible shit going on in this world, COVID and beyond, that means a lot to me. There's a lot of people out there that will just take. I always feel it should be a two-way street. So Twix is asking, did I talk about Goldberg versus Lashley for SummerSlam? I talked about Goldberg. I didn't talk about him versus Lashley because I have not seen any storyline. I have not seen any build for that. All I know is Goldberg is honoring his part of his contract, as we talked about last year, as we talked about 6 months ago. It should be no surprise. What did people think? That Goldberg was just going to say, forget it this year. Or Vince was going to say, stay home. No, business is business. People acting shocked that Goldberg's going to be back. What fucking hole is you've been dug under? These are the same people that said Daniel Bryan was going to be on AEW yesterday. These are the same people that said that Brock Lesnar was backstage on Raw Monday, even though it was a pre-taped show. You know, I don't go along with everybody else. Could Lashley take on Goldberg? Sure. Till I see it play out on TV, sorry, I don't base news on a tweet. That's just me. Whoop, there it is. RCWR show. What's up, Lee? He hears me on the AEW thing, but I've been on top of emails. He's been said, oh, no, I actually did see it. I saw it yesterday, but it was so late that I'm not kidding. I actually, for any of my Patreon family that's tuning in right now, I apologize sincerely. You got the ad-free episodes of last night's show at like 9 o'clock this morning. I literally was waiting for the ad-free video to upload, and I saw Lee's DM about the possibility of doing a Q&A in Washington in late August. Not trying to reveal something to everybody, but that's something that Lee and Mish are doing, and me, I'm trying to do. So last night I was going to go on Travelocity and see like how much the plane is and everything like that. Next thing I knew, it was 8:58 this morning, and I got out of bed, and I'm like, I should be in my office already. And I had to DM the VIPers for Kevin's show because I do all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I forgot to put the ad-free stuff online. So, yeah, I'm going to, over the weekend, I have plenty of time, Lee, to look into that. And if it does go down for all of my friends out there in the Washington area, we'll be able to meet up and shake hands in late August. By the way, I forgot to bring this up. If anybody lives in Connecticut, there is an event coming to Mohegan Sun, I think, next weekend. And it's some type of like comic convention. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara are going to be there. I know nobody is talking about it. I know nobody is advertising it. I saw their faces in Connecticut on a billboard, but I didn't get to go to Mohegan Sun. But I saw on the billboard that there's a convention, I think, next weekend. And I even think they spelled Darby's name wrong. I think they called him Derby Allen or something like that. I'm like, oh, how cute. I should have took a picture. But then I'm thinking if they spelled it wrong on the billboard, they might have it spelled wrong on the website. So if all of you out there, go just do a Google search right now. Just type in Comic Convention, Connecticut, Darby, Sammy. And I think it's next week. Both of them are going to be in Connecticut. So if any of you out there live in that area and are fans of those two guys, you can meet them next week. Sucks that nobody's talking about it, right? I wasn't even aware of it. So, yeah, go check that out. Go check that out. And I love the fact that you're going on the Jericho cruise, man. Seriously. That Jericho cruise looks like so much fun. I asked my fiance, I said, let's go on the Jericho cruise. She's like, I'm not going on any boat. That's why I sold my boat. Remember the boat that I showed you all the pictures of? I sold it because my fiance's afraid of boats. And one thing I used to love to do, especially on a weekend, to clear my head, is to go on my boat, even if I didn't take it out. I would just stay docked. I'd barbecue. I'd watch a little TV. And when I started dating her 9 years ago, I said, let's go on a boat for a little while. And she got on there and she like freaked out. I'm like, honey, we're still tied to the dock. We're not going anywhere. And she just has this big fear of the ocean. So I sold the boat about 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I can't go on the Jericho cruise. But have a great time, man. And seriously, ignore the noise on social media that are going to just make fun of people for going on that boat. Again, you know, you see people going to WrestleMania, you're a super spreader. See people going on the Jericho cruise, oh, sausage fest. You see people in Thunderdome, you know, baby. You know, like, whenever somebody just wants to have some fucking fun, like, there's always people out there to, like, put you down. And you know why they do that? Because they are jealous. that they are not doing what you are doing. Plain and simple. Any of you out there, don't ever, I saw a girl today that somebody DM'd me. I really felt bad for her. And she does interviews once in a while, wrestling. I don't remember her name. Some of you probably know who she is. She shaved just the side of her head a little bit. And you know what she started getting? Just loser, middle-aged men that won't even show their faces, calling her a dyke. You look like a dyke. I mean, people just, look, when I post positive things, you see it 8 times out of 10. Like, nobody really pays attention to it. But if I post something tragic, or if I shit on something, or God forbid, I lie and say, oh, I, saved a bunch of ducks from being run over on the highway today. I stopped chat, and people buy into it. People buy into it. So many people online save the world. And it's weird. Whenever they save the world or they save animals, for some reason, the cell phone fell in the toilet. I fucking had squirrels on my screen, on my window, and one squirrel kept coming back every day. I even think I have it on my phone, but I'm not going to do it today. I'll show you next week if you want to see it. First thing I did, I grabbed the fucking phone. Hey, come here. I even think I streamed it on Twitter. All these people out there that do all these heroic acts, for some reason, shit, I can't. It's either I wear the cape or I take my phone with me. My superhero outfit doesn't have pockets. Never documented. Oh my God, I saw this cute little, 50 puppies, and they all needed milk. So I took out my tits and gave them milk. And even though nothing came out, they all felt like they were having milk. And mentally, they thought they had milk, and they were all happy and wagging their tails and everything. And I saved all these puppies. So cute, I didn't even take a picture. I will not take my shirt off. I know some of you out there like, you almost did. You almost did. Caitlin, is that her name? AS7606. I felt bad for her. Felt bad for her. Just shaves the side of her head, and right away. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. And I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. We'll go back to this. Obviously, if anybody that's new on Thursdays, this is what we do here. We have convos. Wherever it goes, it goes. Everybody tunes in live. You lead the conversation. I'm the one with the mic, obviously, but I see everybody. Oh, shit. I just realized it. That's better. Lee, there are people also that will milk it to death. Look, I love a story where an animal could be rescued. Absolutely. Oh man, I might get myself in trouble for saying this. The videos that kind of rub me the wrong way sometimes is when they have to grossly exaggerate it. Like what they'll do is, like they rescue an animal for real. For real, they rescue a dog. And the dog has got some matted hair and maybe some gnats, some bugs, maybe fleas. I mean, it's happened. My dog had fleas once. And what they'll do is they pause the video. And then they have to type all his paragraph. Like he had so many fleas, that his feces had fleas, that the fleas gave birth to fleas, that he had this. And then they got to put the video in black and white. And then it's almost like they try to find the perfect pose where the dog looks the most unhappy. It's like, if I see the dog, the first thing I'm going to do is pet it, try to give it water, this, and that. No, we got to position the dog the perfect way where he looks so sad that you just want to empty your pockets and donate to the dog. Those videos kind of rub me the wrong way also. You know, it's like, oh, the worse we make this animal come across, the more heroic we look at the end. And just fucking show it. And pauses and black and white, color changes and graphics and 50,000 paragraphs. Look, we found this dog. Come here, dog. Doesn't want to come over. All right, to be continued. All right, the dog finally comes over. Hit the video. Just let it play across. Perfect editing. You know, little things. Music. Music. The worst fucking music in the world that makes you want to cry. And then they take out a jar of Palmolive soap. And then suddenly, bright music. Man, it feels like those people, like that, they're doing good. Don't get me wrong, they're doing good. But they have this craving that they got to make themselves come out to like sainthood. Seriously, like Saint Milkbone. That's their name, Saint Milkbone. Kevin Milwaukee says, I won't get myself in any trouble with any stories here. This is Thursday. Oh, no. I am just talking in general. I don't talk about any one person. If I do, I just call them out by name. It's just in a general sense. When I say I get my mouth in trouble, I'm talking about, I know you all know those videos I'm talking about. But it's weird. There's some very weird fucking people out there. Oh, I came across the most beautiful looking squirrels today. Take a picture. Oh, fuck you. Well, I have to fucking I see that like every week. You know, even when controversy, who's that woman, the actress from Who's the Boss? Oh, I'm at the airport and I hear these two women talking about like absolutely terrible stuff about this and that. I left my phone in my 8th piece of luggage. Somehow couldn't document it, but documents everything else. What's her name? Not Judith Light. Talking about the kid, you know, she was in Alyssa Milano. My God. Whenever there's something like really like, hey, acknowledge me. For some reason, there's never video evidence of it. Never. In the age of technology where even if I fart, if I'm not quick with the mute button, someone will DM me like, DT, I heard, eh. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, can't even like break wind without somebody hearing it. You know? You got cameras everywhere now. And for some reason, with all of these people, these outrageous stories, I saved 3 kittens from tigers today. And then the kittens they followed me home. No phone, though. No phone. The tiger ate my phone. The tiger ate my phone. We'll go back to our live chat in a few moments. I want to give another shout out to Eddie Valentino, our newest member of the family. Much love, Eddie. By the way, for my channel members, I told you this weekend you get the next video Q&A. I'm going to record it. I said it was either going to be today, tomorrow, or Saturday. I'm going to do it Saturday because I definitely want to talk about the live fans returning to SmackDown and some surprises. So we'll do that. And so if you watch SmackDown and there's something major going down on Friday, you could add to your questions for the video Q&A because Saturday afternoon, I have to go at 11 a.m. Saturday morning to meet with the restaurant reception hall because I got to start planning my wedding next year. So I'll be back home probably by like around 1, 2 o'clock. So I plan on recording it then. So do you have any last minute stuff that you'd like for me to talk about on there? Also, we'll do the Money in the Bank predictions contest here on YouTube and on Patreon. two separate contests. You happen to subscribe to both, you can enter both. Some people have said, is it okay? Of course it's okay. It's my contests, my prizes, my wallet, my rules. Joe rules. By the way, speaking of rules, Everrise, I think they're continuing their podcast. Are they now calling it like Joe, like game rules or something like that? Or did anybody actually get the word? Because somebody told me tonight, like, Everrise is still going to do their podcast. I'm like, why? Like, WWE made them do that podcast because they had nothing else for them. I don't think people in droves were. If that was the case, do you realize that more people follow me on Twitter than any member of Everrise? Matt Martell and the other guy, was it Chase Parker, whatever his name was? More people follow me than they follow him. And I'm playing catch up on Twitter because I was so, like, miserable on there. If you notice, I haven't said the word goof on Twitter in about 8 months. Everrise. Yeah, I don't remember the new name, but it's something like something rules. I'm like, oh my God, there's still, it's not like the Iconics where they had a little bit of charisma and a little bit of interaction with social media. These guys actually think that they're doing an epic podcast. If you were doing such an epic podcast, I don't think WWE would have let you go. They weren't getting paid crazy money. It's not like Everrise was getting paid $300,000 and like, oh no, we got to let these guys go because we don't want to pay $300,000 for podcasters. I'll take $300,000. Show rules. There we go. Show rules. I don't think you heard that. Show rules. See, Surgeon General has learned that thinking of Everrise too much causes gas. Trying to think of a more fancy word for it. Daniel-san, great shows this week. Predictions, yes. Tomorrow I'm going to do something. How ridiculous is that man? Seriously. Anybody watch AEW Dynamite yesterday? If I'm Impact Wrestling, Scott D'Amore is too much of a professional to do anything otherwise. I like Scott D'Amore. But if I was Scott D'Amore or anyone else high up in Impact Wrestling, I would have been fucking livid with yesterday's Dynamite. You have Kenny Omega taking on Sami Callihan this weekend on Saturday for the Impact Wrestling heavyweight title. And there is pretty much no buzz, no mention, no storyline advancement. Do you realize that no one from Impact Wrestling has yet to show up at Dynamite and try? I mean, come on. I understand Tony Khan is the executive for AEW, and all of us are just sitting at home on our computers. But a lot of you out there have something that I've said 1,000 times before. A lot of you out there have something that Tony Khan doesn't, that Scott D'Amore doesn't, that a lot of people in Impact Wrestling do not, that Who Dat doesn't have. And that's street smart. We know when someone is getting a little bit played or taken a little bit advantage. You realize that Kenny Omega showed up on Impact Wrestling, what was it, last year? It was around December, give or take a month. And for 7 fucking months, they never once did any type of a storyline where Impact wrestlers show up. And don't give me Gallows and Hands. I'm talking about like Rich Swann. I'm talking about Sami Callihan. I'm talking about jumping the guardrail. Not some goof fan trying to do it. They don't even mention this shit on Dynamite. If I'm Impact Wrestling, I don't care how much I desperately need some type of rub from AEW that you're willing to let it be so one-sided. The AEW shows up on Impact, but Impact doesn't show. You think, I thought this early on, I don't think this anymore. I thought early on, all right, maybe Rich Swann, because they have some live fans, because of COVID, maybe he's a little reluctant to go to Daly's place. Then I thought about other people, Moose and others. And don't give me that fucking match that aired with no fans, which was just weird. They have the match take place at Daly's place, and there's no fans there at all. I mean, Impact Wrestling has gotten no rub on Dynamite whatsoever in the entire run. We ain't stupid. We ain't stupid. This is all one-sided. And Impact Wrestling, as small as they are, I hate to say this, man, because I like Scott D'Amore, and I think Impact Wrestling has been putting out some decent programming lately. But, man, you all deserve to have 120 fucking thousand viewers. Because it feels like that promotion, I don't know where their balls went. You know, it feels like they don't, like, stand. Everybody and their mother can see this a mile away, that this interaction between the two companies has been 99.9% in one direction only. These motherfuckers don't want to speak up, complain, or say anything whatsoever to ruffle it because they piss off Tony Khan. There goes the future relationship. Man, it feels good to have power, doesn't it? Seriously. You're Tony Khan. He's got the power. And he's sitting back and loving every minute of this because he's got all the stroke in this. In Impact Wrestling, it's like they're on strings like this. Sad. I understand you get more flies with honey. That's a phrase. But when you get taken advantage of like this for 7 months, sorry, Kenny Omega walking around with the Impact title once in a blue moon on Dynamite, you know, then the Impact title? Oh, I gotta go watch me some Impact. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. But I will do predictions for Slammiversary tomorrow. And Nate, you're very welcome, my friend. Glad you're enjoying the show. And thank you, everyone. You know, the last couple of shows, you know, I posted a little sticky. You know, before we go live, you know, you stop by, preview, whatever, just hit the thumbs up so we get a little head start. And I know some people are rather new to the show, so welcome aboard, and I hope you enjoy. And please, any opinions, feedback, I welcome it. Never feel that you can't criticize me or give me a suggestion or complain. I don't bite like that. You know, trolls I don't like. I try not to troll either. But if you troll and you're a really good troll, I might give you some props for it before I shadow ban you. I had to shadow ban somebody the other day, man. I felt bad. It's the first time I shadow banned someone in about 6 months. I removed the shadow ban on Tuesday just to see like what he has written since then, because I could go to my section where there's comments that I haven't responded to yet. And I looked at all of his diatribes, all of this horrible stuff, and then I shadow banned him again. Like, okay, thank you. It's pretty funny. There's some podcasters out there that still, I don't think, realize that they're shadow banned. Because the way they talk, they respond to some of you out there. Dude, why are you sucking the you-know-what of Don Tony? Why are you such a bitch? Why are you such this? And I'm like, you do realize that nobody can see you, right? Oh, man. I don't reveal names. I don't reveal names. And with wrestling and people that show support, you know, unless they want their names revealed, I don't reveal names. You know, once in a while, somebody goes forward over the years, this person, they say they enjoy the shows. Yeah, then obviously I'll talk about it. But especially in this day and age, you know, my God, Sasha Banks likes a tweet about some conspiracy theory with vaccines. All right, I totally disagree with her view on the vaccines, but she has a right to her opinion. And people are just trying to cancel her out. Seriously, man. All right. We're going to start taking calls in a couple of moments. How long are we going so far? An hour and 20 minutes. Man, that show like 2-3 weeks ago, we were like the 2.5 hour mark, and I was like, oh my God, it felt like we were only on for 45 minutes. So we'll take calls. It's an hour and 20 minutes now. We'll probably take calls for about 40 minutes or so. We'll finish around the 2 hour mark. Bunch of you asked this, and the answer is yes. Sunday, right after Money in the Bank, I will be doing a recap. I'm also going to open the phone lines. So if you want to call in Sunday and talk about what just went down on Money in the Bank, because who knows what's going to happen. You know, I don't want to reveal my predictions until tomorrow, but let's just pretend right now, fantasize. Somebody wins the briefcase Sunday, cashes in and becomes champion. Somebody makes a surprise return. Something goes terribly awry. Some swerve goes down. Maybe the fans were awesome. Maybe the live fans sucked. Maybe they didn't put out, I don't know. But something tells me there'll be enough to talk about Sunday that warrants live calls. So if you want to call in Sunday, you'll be able to. The only thing I ask is we just focus on the pay-per-view Sunday, because Monday, when I come back here with Mish, we'll do live calls again. So we got plenty of time to have some discussion. Yeah, Sam, I thought there was a possibility of Chelsea Green going on Impact as well. She ended up at Ring of Honor. You know, the thing is, I'm not saying that Chelsea Green is demanding a large amount of money. She's not. She's not. The amount of money that I heard is rather low. But the thing is, right now, Impact Wrestling, I don't think needs Chelsea Green at this moment. Ring of Honor, the schedule is lighter. They're focusing on a women's tournament. The interesting thing about it is you're now starting to see some steam pick up with NWA and their women's pay-per-view. And I think it's going to be fabulous. My question is the same 3 words that seem to be catching steam that we always have to bring up. And then what? What's going to happen with the women's division in NWA 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Are we going to see a whole flurry of women on this pay-per-view and then not see them again in NWA? So I don't know what's going to happen with the women's division in NWA in the end. But the way I feel right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Ring of Honor's women's division catches some steam above NWA. And I know some of you out there would find that pretty wild, especially over the accusations towards Ring of Honor and their women's division in recent memory. You know, people need to understand something. And, well, Eddie Valentino, Deonna Purrazzo's opponent is a mystery. A lot of people think it's going to be Ruby Riott. I don't know. But here's the thing. And I don't want to upset anybody out there who's a woman or anyone out there that is a huge fan of women's wrestling. And I've said this for years and years and years. I believe the only reason why WWE never went ahead with an all-women's TV show, even for on a limited time basis, is fear of exposing the reality. What do I mean by that? Evolution was a great pay-per-view. If you remember when I was doing shows with multiple hosts back then, I was the only one that was defending that pay-per-view from day one. I said, oh, it's going to sell out. That building is going to be sold out. And If it wasn't sold out, it was this close to being sold out. I thought everything was going to be pretty good with it. I wasn't prepared for Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. Okay. But here's the thing. I truly believe that WWE believes that women's wrestling, especially their women's wrestling, is not remotely anywhere near on the same popularity level as men's wrestling. And what I mean by that is you put a WWE women's show on TV and a WWE mixed show, men and women, I think the women's ratings, they fear, I'm not saying that they will, but I think WWE feared that if they put an all women's product on TV and the ratings were horrendous, everything that's been built up for this women's revolution that they have been pushing for years and years and years, that is devastating to that. Because then you feel that everything was overhyped to push the agenda to force 50-50, equal time for equal sex, male and female. And the thing is, in the world of entertainment, you cannot base your entertainment solely on somebody's skin color, somebody's sex. You have to base it on who is actually getting you viewers, who is selling merchandise, who is getting people in that they're invested in what you're doing. That's it. If there is a time where women's wrestling for WWE is more popular and getting more searches and getting more higher ratings in the quarter hours, which at some points Becky Lynch was getting the highest quarter hour rating on WWE programming. Ronda Rousey as well. Absolutely. Charlotte at some point also. So if you have women performing and they're doing a better job in the entertainment category than the men, then fine. Give me more women than men. But when they're not delivering and you force it and push it anyway, because if you don't, then you get a lot of women's wrestlers cutting promos on social media that WWE doesn't give equal opportunity. It's an entertainment company at the end of the day. It's not, a social justice company. And if WWE would have put a women's show out there and the ratings would have been half of what NXT is, let's just say. Just saying. What does that say about the truth about the women's revolution, evolution, whatever you want to call it? So you keep that as an unknown. And I really believe that. And you ask yourself, if it was such a success, why didn't they do a second women's pay-per-view? COVID or not? Why not? Why not? So you got to do your entertainment based on who is doing it for you, not what they have between their legs. That's just how I look at it. So that's why I say about NWA. I love that they're doing this pay-per-view with all women. I love that Mickie James is involved with it because they're going to give some women an opportunity that was not given an opportunity before. But I say those three words again that are absolutely critical. And then what? And then what? The pay-per-view buy rate is not all that great. Would they be committed to pushing it and building it and giving it time to develop? Or does Billy Corgan go in a different direction and focus on the National Wrestling Alliance and have a mixture? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But, no matter what promotion is doing this, you got to keep those three words in the back of your mind. And then what? I brought up yesterday with Brock Lesnar and AEW. So many people fantasize that. And I say, sorry for repeating myself, but I say, who's he going to feud against? Miro? And then what? You think they're going to have him leapfrog Kenny? You think he's going to beat Kenny Omega in 12 seconds? Even if he beats him in 12 minutes, and then what? You think he's going to leapfrog Moxley? What's he going to do? What is he going to do? He's going to throw around members of the Dark Order? Throw around Marco Stunt? Is he going to throw Marco Stunt so far he's going to land in the Miami River from Daly's place? And then what? You know, people throw names out there. Look at Andrade. We were laughing at that yesterday. It sucks, but think about it. Andrade, the gold. All about the gold. Give me that triangle. Give you guts. It's not his fault. This is what AEW has for him. Javili, what's up, brother? Better dream match for Charlotte Flair, Alundra Blaze or Michelle McCool? I say neither. Except if you're talking about the wrestlers in their prime, Charlotte Flair versus Alundra Blaze would kick ass. I am a huge fan of Medusa. Anybody that goes back to me in the 90s knows my appreciation for her work. Her in her prime versus Charlotte Flair would be awesome. At this stage in the game, simply because father time, you know, Mother Nature, age, you know, it does catch up to you, whether you like it or not. She would not be able to do remotely what she used to do. She'd be great for a battle royal. She'd be great in a multi-person tag team match. But to have all the spotlight on Alundra Blaze right now, Medusa, and Charlotte Flair, I don't know how that would be. Medusa, in her mind, absolutely would love that. But I think even she would even admit to herself, I can't do what I used to do. It's not that she's lazy or she hasn't trained. Age catches up to all of us. You know, I play the Don Tony indie wrestling crap to reminisce, you know, to have fun. I miss it. I'd love to do it again. I'm starting to push the Deli Man stuff because people actually think that actually could work, especially in this day and age. And I would seriously do it again. I would have to train. I would have to, you know, really work out. And the thing is, with the footage you're watching, it's 15 years ago. Well, not all of it. It ranges from 2005 to 2009, I think, or 10. I didn't realize that I was doing that stuff for 4 or 5 years. Not every month, but I was doing it. But at the end of the day, it is 15 years later. And I might feel it in here and in here that I could do that shit again. But I don't know. I mean, you know, you don't see many people once they hit 50 taking shit. Me, I feel like, you know, no problem. But at the end of the day, I might get one shot and that's it. You know, I'm going to be like, you know, I'm going to go on the show and I'm going to be like, you know, not even thinking correctly. But I would say in her prime, Alundra Blaze easily against Charlotte Flair. Michelle McCool I liked, but Michelle McCool, you know, was never, look, I don't know how many of you out there were hardcore wrestling fans when Michelle McCool was on TV in her prime. Michelle McCool was very talented and she was good. But I could tell you, because I did shows at that time, nobody was saying Michelle McCool is one of the top women's wrestlers in the world. She was very good. She was, you know, very good, but not on a level of a Medusa. Not even close. Not even close. And that's not a shot to Michelle McCool. I liked Lay Cool. I thought they were great. But it doesn't mean that she's on the level of Alondra Blaze. So, with that said, I think we could start getting ready to open the phone lines. We'll take some calls. Now, again, don't forget the contest. You know the deal. Next week during the show, I will do it live on the show. We will pick a winner, and I'll let you all vote this weekend to decide how long they have to claim their prize. And we'll put a countdown clock on the screen. I have countdown clocks. So if it goes to 0, I might even need to download that big Royal Rumble buzzer. Not the one that they use now, but the one from back in the day. And I'm not talking about the one from the 80s too. Somewhere in the 90s, they had a buzzer where it went like really, really loud. It was like one from like high school, that really loud buzzer that if you were like half asleep in your classroom and then that buzzer went off, like you just peed your pants, got scared. What the fuck is that buzzer? So we do the countdown, and if they don't claim their prize and it counts down to 0, we go right and pick another winner. So I'll let you all vote this weekend. So anyway. Oh, so tomorrow we'll do predictions. Now, the women's match, we got to add one to it. I'm still thinking that it's Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch. Remember, Sasha Banks does not need to be in the Money in the Bank match to have a feud with Bianca Belair again. That's what we talked about on Monday. But I think Friday, if Becky Lynch came out, she gets the spot. I could picture it already. This is just me thinking. I could picture Sonya Deville going out there to the live fans and pretty much leading in the direction that there's one person that deserves to be in this match more than anyone else, and that's because she had to give up her championship last year and she never lost the title. She gets an opportunity to possibly get an opportunity, and I think they announced Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch gets that final spot, and I'll have to think about it during SmackDown tomorrow. If it ends up being her, I have to think about as far as who I think will win it. But my early thought is if Becky Lynch ends up being in that women's Royal Rumble match, I think Becky Lynch wins the match also. Chris, calls are free. Calls are free. I don't charge on here. There we go. That is, I didn't take the Do Not Disturb off yet. By the way, I am working on other software. So I think by next week we will be able to launch it. So I don't have to keep hitting Do Not Disturbs or anything. Like everything will just be through the computer. But if you have no problem with area codes, you could call 225 Don Tony, which is 225-366-8669. Or if you need a toll-free number, because I don't want anybody to get hit with phone charges, you could also call 833-DON-VMVM. That originally was the voicemail number that I was going to use, but not many people leave voicemails, so we incorporated it on the show. So if you want to call a toll-free number, you could call that number instead. Either one will get you connected into the show. So I am going to take the Do Not Disturb off. Sorry for the dramatic pause. I just got to pull the software up. And we'll take calls for a little while. Then we'll call it a night. 833-366-8686 or 225-366-8669. And we are good to go. So if you want to call in now, you should be able to get through. Just whatever questions you have, just, to the point so we could get as many people on as possible. Good evening.
What's up, DT?
Hey, what's going on?
That's Mohammed.
Hey, Mohammed.
Last week, from Monday. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Weekend is coming up. SmackDown live fans, looking forward to it. Money in the Bank, looking forward to it. think it's going to be a pretty fun weekend to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I hope you and your fiance are good. So with that being said, I have like 3 questions. I thought to bring them up to you. Maybe you have some interesting take because I've been thinking about them. First of all, there's this thing that hypocrisy of AEW that no one likes to talk about. They bring WWE and Impact so much, and they forget AEW. Let's say, for example, you have this Cody Rhodes promo last night, I think. He said you shouldn't hit like a 61 years old man, talking about Arn Anderson. But then Tully Blanchard and Conan get in action, and I'm like, why don't they address that or say Arn Anderson is just a manager and others can be able to say it? I mean, there's not continuity. Okay, Cody Rhodes said that, but I just think it's hypocrisy on AEW part that to say that and also have all people get hit.
I think.
What do you think?
I honestly think when you're up there in age, and especially when you have done it for decades, and we don't know how much these guys are hurting, I think they're the ones that know their bodies best, and I think some of them are able to take bumps better than others. Jake the Snake Roberts really, really has to be careful. That's why you really don't see him getting as physical. Even when he moves around sometimes, it's very, you got to be a little bit concerned. Look at Sting. I mean, look at Sting's age, and that guy moves around like he's 15 years younger. There's just some wrestlers can get more physical than others. Conan wants to get physically involved. The reason why I think it's so glaring these days is because you don't see a lot of, Hall of Famers being used on TV. You might see an appearance once in a blue moon, a backstage segment on WWE and stuff like that, but it feels like ever since Jerry Lawler had that heart attack scare, it seems like WWE really does not want, the older wrestlers to get physical. You'll see it once in a while, but that's why they have to turn the lights off when they simulate Ric Flair getting beat. Ric Flair can't take bumps. So it's really how good these people, their bodies are. Another thing also is that, some of these guys are not getting paid, spectacular money. And, they may have, some outside ventures. And at that age, you may not want to take a bump, break your hip, and then, you're bedridden and you can't do even the stuff you do for your livelihood. So, it's not really politics or anything. I think it's just, people, it's really, when you get to that age, it's really, you got to take each person individually and don't look at it as a whole.
Yeah, sure. And also there's this thing you despise, and also so do I. I call it the Chris Jericho effect. Basically, it is about promos and how they are built nowadays. Every other company, they just go praise the other, but say, however, I am the better one on this and that. I'm like, goddamn, why can't you just trash them and be the best? Say, you know what, I'm better, and this, he is crap. And I hear this thing about Chris Jericho mentioning in his book that you have to build your opponent so that if you trash him and then beat him, you beat someone who isn't worthy. But if he beats you, you are beaten by someone who's trash, so no one is over. So now I think every company is doing it, and I get so pissed to the point that Matt Riddle to me is like so special that his promos are very unique on their own. And I call AJ Styles the AJUC style because every time AJ speaks, I like AJ, but he just praise his opponent but say, you see, I do this and I do that. I'm like, goddamn, why don't you trash each other. Brock Lesnar had Paul Heyman just trash his opponents and praise them in a unique way. So what do you think about that, the Chris Jericho effect or whatnot?
A lot of it is overscripted with WWE. WWE, I talked about this a couple of years ago, and it's more glaring than ever before that it's almost a requirement with a feud that before somebody could put down their opponent, they have to put over their opponent. That's why, you'll see Bobby Lashley say, no question, Kofi, you're one of, the greatest, or, they always have to compliment their opponent, and then they talk smack. And I tell you, I hate it. I don't mind it once in a while, but anybody out there that doesn't pay attention to that, trust me, you'll start paying attention to it now. Roman Reigns even does that to an extent, and I wouldn't be surprised on Friday if it happens again. Edge will give some compliment to Roman Reigns and then go into his tirade, and vice versa. That's just the formula WWE uses. And, when WWE is the biggest game in town, a lot of people like to use that template. They use that template.
But it's also weird that when I was at school and we had a bully, he keeps talking smack, but we enjoy seeing him fight others, like, okay, who's getting beat tonight? Conor McGregor at UFC, he just talks smack, doesn't build anyone up, and people pay to see him beat everyone up now. Yeah. AEW has to build their opponents, has to praise them, has to trash them. No one is special to me anymore because no one is above the others.
It's true.
And that's coming to it's also coming to my third point is Kenny Omega and Hangman Page to me don't seem big time. When I talk about big time wrestlers, I think of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I wasn't alive back then, but I see how it was. John Cena, you had the Nexus saga, and every episode opened with Cena. In the middle was John Cena. At the end was John Cena. Daniel Bryan had episodes built upon him. Right now, Roman Reigns on SmackDown has beginning of SmackDown is something has to do with Roman Reigns, and they follow through the story through the end of the night, and it's in the main event. However, in AEW, I think they are doing disservice to the talents right now that you are all equal. Everyone is getting equal TV time. Women can be main event. Tag team can be main event. Darby Allin can be main event. Right now, no one is special. Everyone can be in the main event. Even Ken Omega and Hangman Page don't have their storyline is just one segment. Don't follow through the end to the whole show. Do you think that it's to the detriment of AEW? No one feels big time, big star.
It may not be to their detriment right now because if everybody feels on the same playing field, you don't want to be a promotion where people, make a sign that says, I paid to see Kenny Omega. If you have everybody on a similar playing field, the whole thing combined might be worth, investing some time and money to watch it. SmackDown, it's Roman Reigns and everybody else. But, you have some performers that are stepping up too. It's a little bit different because I'll say this. When Jericho became the undisputed champion, I remember in the very early days when I started doing podcasts at that time, right around that time when Jericho became the undisputed champion, the one thing that I noticed almost immediately, and I complained about it a lot, was Jericho would be the beginning. If it was a 2-hour show, he would be the beginning of hour 2. If it was a pay-per-view, he would be in the middle of the pay-per-view, more times than not. He wouldn't close out like Triple H did, or The Rock, or Steve Austin. And it always felt to me like WWE did not feel he was on the level of those guys. Now it's different, obviously. But the thing is, you look back at how many times Darby Allin has main evented Dynamite, it might surprise some people. When you see John Silver main event Dynamite, when you see this person main event Dynamite, and you feel like everybody's getting an opportunity, 10 main events Dynamite, all right, you feel good for the guy. But at the end of the day, you know, some of these bigger names, they don't feel as big when they're the opening match of the night, so they can leave a little bit earlier, or they could take a shower and relax for the rest of the night. Because who wants to, you know, be done at 10 o'clock at night? Then they got to shower. Then they got to do other stuff. And then they got to do this. Next thing you know, it's 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, let me do it at 8. This way I could take a shower at 8:30, and then I could just chill for the rest of the night. It just, I don't know. AEW does a little bit of a different formula. AEW reminds me of indie wrestling more than anything else, and that's not a knock. I think what AEW does is, when indie wrestling does, even the shows that I used to be part of, you would do a show and you want everybody to go home happy. And you feel like, you know, it was just an event. You know, it didn't feel like to be continued. Yes, AEW storylines that are continuing, but, you know, they close out the show with Darby Allin in a coffin match. And yes, that is a fun gimmick match. But Darby Allin has closed out a lot of Dynamites. Some of these other wrestlers, they get just a 5-minute spot and that's it. So that's how WWE does it. And that's how AEW does it. And other promotions, they're a little more old school about it. But if the fans are enjoying it, you know, it's hard to argue with them doing what they're doing. The fans seem to like it. So, you know, that's why those quarter-hour ratings were always very interesting to look at, because you see, you know, peaks and valleys. Then you know, you feel like, okay, maybe this person should not be anywhere near the main event. But in AEW, in a lot of cases, their quarter hours just consistently go up throughout the 2 hours. And they realize that, okay, you know, you don't want to put these guys on early and then have a big dip, and then everybody tunes in because they know the big names are going to close out the show. So.
Yeah, I just think that AEW should get someone who is hot and build the whole show on him, just like WWE is doing with Roman Reigns. Because to me, Roman Reigns right now is, when I talk about him, he is deservedly, in my opinion, deserving his spot. And anyone who beats him instantly becomes bigger.
Yeah.
So if AEW find out that person that gets extra level, if beating up the guy on the main show, it will get them somewhere great. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, DT.
Yeah, much love, my friend. Have a great night.
Thanks.
All the best. Lee, I know you posted that link about Alberto El Patron threatening Paige, you know, that he's going to reveal stuff. Dude, I don't know why the fuck Hannibal put that shit out there. I mean, I don't care who's right and wrong. I don't care if Paige was just as much a fuck up as Patron was at that time. I never liked Hannibal, man. You know, a lot of you out there, remember Bison Smith? Anybody out there remember Bison Smith? Died many years ago. I was very good friends with Bison Smith. I know this may sound weird to some. I still have his emails saved because it was always fun to talk to him, especially online. Bison Smith used to tell me when Hannibal was accusing Abdullah the Butcher of the hepatitis and all that, he was telling me about Hannibal, you know, bleeding, gushing like a pig in Puerto Rico and, you know, stuff like that. And a lot of people, you know, just felt that he was putting the blame on Abby. And then when people seemed to not climb aboard that train, like it seemed like it angered him even more. I have nothing personal against Hannibal. He seems like a nice guy, and a lot of people do like him. But I think what he falls into the problem with and makes the mistake is, I know he does a lot of interviews, and he does do some decent ones at times. But sometimes, especially when you're talking about a guy who is facing life in prison, you talk about a guy that we talked about at that time. Remember the incident with the cell phones and the slashes on the arms, the knives? Weird how nobody online wanted to cover that story. Remember when I covered that shit and I wanted to get to the bottom of it and that seemed to get swept under the rug? There was some whacked out shit going on between Patron and Page. I don't want none of it. I'm not interested in reading tabloid shit. And especially when this guy is being accused of some really horrendous stuff, even though the woman, came forward and apologized, this and that, there seems to be a pattern here. And for this guy, just because it's an interview and is kind of proud of it, sometimes you got to turn around, whether it's a famous wrestler or not, and you got to be like, man, I don't think I would. Hey, I'll give you a great example. Great example. The episode of the Masked Maniac show when New Jack was on. And New Jack at the time was dating Terry Reynolds. A lot of you know this story already. And New Jack took a bunch of pictures of Terry Reynolds covered in blood. And on that episode, New Jack says, Anthony, I'm going to send you these pictures. You got to put them on your website. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get in the middle of that, because at the time I was talking with Dawn Marie when she was doing the Wrestler's Rescue, and she had that issue with Kamala, and God rest his soul. And I took her side, because there was a lot of things that I saw behind the scenes that no one else did. And she was friends with Terry Reynolds. And, you don't say no to New Jack, but he's saying, Anthony, you got to put these pictures up. Nah, I don't feel right. You're telling me no? And Masked Maniac, he's like, Anthony, you're telling New Jack no? I didn't want to put him up. I did not feel comfortable because I didn't want to get in the middle of both of them. And I ended up not putting them up. And I don't know if he put it on his website or somebody else put it up. But the thing is, you got to draw the line somewhere. And that relationship is long gone between Patron and Page. They still want to talk shit with each other, about each other. Let them do it themselves. This guy sitting back, it feels like if I could be in Hannibal, wow, did I get this amazing scoop here? Oh, look at all these websites that are talking about the interview I did. The threats that Patron is putting out there and the accusations, sometimes you just got to be the better person and say, I ain't going nowhere near that shit. And this guy kind of welcomes it. So all of the stuff that I started to like about Hannibal just went right out the door. Just an opinion. I don't dislike the man personally, but I still think back to those convos. And I got a couple of emails, that I could put, but I would not ever do that to Bison Smith, even though he is past, long gone. So, but yeah. So anyway, hey, what's going on? Oh, we lost him. Hello? I forgot to put the Do Not Disturb on. I am so sorry for everybody that has been trying to connect. And they're like, DT, could you shut the fuck up already and take my call? Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hi, DT. It's AS7607.
Hey, what's going on? I apologize. I went on a rant.
No, it's all good. Thank you. I wanted to say thank you again for the And thank you to Crazy Cruiserweight for the gift. That was so sweet of you guys to do that, especially the autograph photo of Paul Orndorff, and especially with the timing and everything, which was so unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, you're very welcome and enjoy it. So glad that you got everything and it got there safe. So, and enjoy Money in the Bank too. Enjoy Money in the Bank.
Oh, I will. I didn't get to, like I said, like stay on and tune in like live to Monday night because I was too, due to the circumstances and everything. And I wanted to give my thoughts about Paul Orndorff.
Sure, absolutely.
Paul Orndorff was one of the guys that really, he was one of those guys that I first saw, not just Hogan, but him and Piper, like that introduced me to pro wrestling. And he was tough as nails, a man's man, pound for pound, like the best of the best in that golden era of wrestling.
I agree.
And I remember vividly watching the night he turned on Hogan. It was one of those holy, like I'm trying to wrap my head as a young fan, like going, when he leveled him with a clothesline, like what? And then nobody can nail a pile driver better than Mr. Wonderful. When he nailed Hogan, jacked him, like that was done. And it was, for me, him and Hogan was a far better rivalry than Hogan and Piper, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, they didn't call that the Great Betrayal for nothing. I know for 2021, there's so many other promotions out there, and there's so much exposure on TV and the internet. At that time, because you were Northeast like me, we were pretty much focused on WWF mostly. And, when he turned, I mean, like I said, they called it the Great Betrayal, and it was just one of those turns that it's one of the greatest turns in history. And, even though Paul Orndorff never truly liked being a babyface, he pulled it off good enough where nobody expected him to turn on Hogan. That's the thing. See, like in today's standards, when they did Saturday Night's Main Event and Hogan and Paul Orndorff are posing, and I remember Vince, oh yeah, like doing the Otis. He's going and they're posing.
Right.
You never saw Paul Orndorff have any visual expressions that this guy's showing me up a little bit, or, I like I'm going to do something down the line in the future. It just, you felt like straight up babyface on Hogan's side, and then out of nowhere, they did the turn. And really, anybody that says these days, oh, I saw that coming a mile away, no, nobody saw that coming at that time. And it was awesome. And that's what made the feud so awesome.
Anybody that says that they saw that coming, anybody that said that they saw that coming, they're lying to you.
Yeah. I tell you, I honestly, at that time, never thought that Paul Orndorff would pull it off as good as a babyface. Because that was not that long after when they did the segments in the gym where he's making fun of, this woman who's fat and this guy who's not strong or not muscular. I mean, the guy was just awesome. But, they did the feud with him and Piper turned on him, Bob Orton Jr. as well. And he did an awesome job with it. And it's a shame. I mean, by 1995, his career, he was a veteran. His best years were behind him, but Pretty Wonderful. I tell you, I once in a while get people say to me, I enjoyed Pretty Wonderful almost as much as I enjoyed his WWF stuff. You go back and you watch some of the stuff he was doing with Paul Roma, it was pretty damn good.
Absolutely. I didn't get to watch a lot of his run in WCW until like a couple years later, and he had a very good run, especially as TV champion. He was a 2-time tag champion with Paul Roma.
Yeah. He was very good. I mean, like I said yesterday, I don't think WWE is going to do a 10-bell salute tomorrow. I know they should, but under the circumstances, I don't think they are. But I do expect Michael Cole to mention it, and I think they are going to show a video package for Paul Orndorff. He definitely deserves it. Definitely deserves it.
I know. I actually did see, before I actually called in, I actually did catch a 2-minute, 45-second video tribute to Paul Orndorff. Matt Camp, I believe, was the narrator of the video. It's on WWE YouTube. So it was a nice tribute to him. So,
yeah, he wasn't very close with Vince and WWF in for many, many years, but still didn't take away on how good he was and how important he was back in the day. And, you know, again, it sucks that he passed. I mean, you know, I'm not going to lie. When I saw people saying, like, I'm going to miss him, you know, like, I thought about it, and I understand why people say that, but I thought to myself, I'm like, well, wait a minute. He's not podcasting. Even before the dementia stuff, he's not podcasting. He's not making appearances. He's not wrestling anymore. All we have are memories. So, you know, it sucks that he passed, you know, but you don't want to see someone at 71 suffering dementia, weighing $140. You know what I mean? You want to remember him as a stallion in his peak. And it was heartbreaking to see him in that condition. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, people going after the son, saying, why are you putting this online? Like, why are you showing your dad in this way? And, you know, it was a shame that people did that. But, you know, if there's any consolation, I mean, whatever pain and suffering he was going through, you know, he's out of it now. And, you know, he spiritually, he is back in his peak. He's got his memory back. He is probably annoying the shit out of Bobby Heenan and Roddy Piper up there. And,
true.
You know, we got to remember him like that. We got to remember him like that. Nobody, even personally, nobody wants to say goodbye to loved ones, you know, when it's time. But, you know, you don't want, you know, someone to be in that position and suffer like that. You wish they could turn it around and recover and pull it out. But, you know, he's in a better place now. And, you know, I tell you, his family should be extremely proud as far as how much love, because something tells me even his own son probably worried that, wow, my father was such an asshole in wrestling that, you know, I don't know, you know, if people are going to be that fond of, you know, or give the generic, you know, our thoughts and prayers. But no, people truly, truly enjoyed him. And, you know, you're not the only one that has said over the years, Paul Orndorff was their favorite of all time. He was that good. He was that good.
Yeah, even though I was such a Hogan mark, Orndorff was second behind for me. I know his son Travis did post that. I believe his funeral was this weekend.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning. He also did mention that he donated his father's brain for analysis. So yeah, but overall, he's thanking a lot. He thanked a lot of the fans for the love and support, and he knows that his dad was truly loved.
That's good. That's good. You got to, you know, be happy, you know, because that's, you know, usually that's what people want. You know, they don't want people sad. You know, celebrate career. You know, we got the footage. We got it. Anytime we want to reminisce and enjoy, we can. And at some point, we all go. At some point, it's going to happen to all of us, you know. So he had an awesome fucking career that we can still enjoy years to come. And his legacy will never be taken away. So, you know, we'll always remember him. But he was awesome.
Right, and his GoFundMe is on the link of his son's Instagram. So anyone, please take the time to donate and help the family out. I know I did. I mean, it's the least I can do because this man, I appreciate the work he did.
Yeah, somebody
in this world circle. That's the least I can do.
Somebody at GoFundMe emailed me tonight, and I'm going to look into it, and I might do something tomorrow that, you know, any super chats that come in, I'll match it and donate it there. And everybody always sees my name on there, so they'll know that it'll be done if I do that. So probably will do that.
Thank you so much, DT. Keep doing what you're doing. There's so much love and support to your show. And thank you again for the gift. That was so awesome. Thank you, Crazy Cruiserweight, if you're listening. Thank you.
Have a good night. Have a good weekend, and enjoy the pay-per-view and SmackDown tomorrow.
Good night, sweet.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm telling you, for you younger fans out there that did not experience Paul Orndorff in real time, believe me when I tell you, people are not exaggerating on how much they enjoyed his career. Truly. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Edwin.
Hey, Edwin. What's up?
Hey. Can I continue with the Paul Orndorff memory fair?
Sure.
Yeah, you know, when you know, that's when I started on when he before the WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania. I remember the water settled the score. We didn't have cable back then, so you know, I just you know, I remember the highlights where you know he comes in there after Ace got injured and he got taken out. He said, "I'm going to take his place," and then they both attacked him, and then you see like first the Cyndi Lauper coming on the apron, and then Mr. T comes to save Cyndi Lauper, and then you say, "Oh, Mr. T, he's going to kick their ass," yeah, and then these guys beat the shit out of Mr. T. It's, oh shit, these motherfuckers are badasses. Stuff him and Piper, and then you know, then later on, remember that thing with the gym?
Sure.
When Gene Okerlund joined the gym, I was watching that the other day, man. I was wondering if that was a real guy that they beat the shit out of him and Bob Orton. Remember when they pulled Gene out of there?
No.
And then they beat the living shit out of the guy?
They would have been sued big time if that was the case.
Yeah.
I tell you, I wish a cat, like, I don't wish it, but I always fantasized what Paul Orndorff, Roddy Piper, and Dr. D, David Schultz, how they would be accepted if they did their gimmicks that they did back then in 2021. I could only imagine there would be cancel culture. There would be new forms of cancel culture trying to get rid of them. I mean, it's just, you know, a lot of it was truly politically incorrect, but, you know, when you got a physique like that and you could back it up in the ring as well, and, you know, he also did not have like a face that, you know, your mom would love. You know what I mean? Like everything about him would just rub you the wrong way. But it was so bad, it was good. As Morocco used to say, he was such a badass that people loved it. A lot of people I know loved Orndorff back in the day.
Yeah. After after the first WrestleMania, he became a good guy. So he's like, he was the point, like, you know, like you said, he was the first guy that really broke my heart, you know, with the Hogan thing, you know, because he was like, Hogan was 1 and he was 1A. It was like half and half. And then, you know, but I was back then, I was like, what, 12 years old? You know, like the woman said before, I was shocked. I did not expect the woman, they raised his hand and they said, bam, the clothesline and the pile driver, man. And those guys, they definitely were beating the shit out of each other in those fights, man. That's when wrestling came real to me. Well, I knew it was fake at the time, but, you know, you could tell they were really at each other. And Hogan always talked about how Orndorff really tested his limits, man, and shit like that. And beat the shit out of him in those matches, and his body's all bruised up and stuff like that, man. By the way, yeah. Did you ever hear about that rumor back in the, sorry about that. Did you ever hear about the rumor back in the 80s about that, after he left WWE, that he died of steroids?
No, the only one that I remember at that time that actually got some traction was Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar Billy Graham in 83, I think it was, he disappeared, and a lot of people didn't hear anything about him. And we just had the wrestling magazines at the time, We didn't have a Meltzer that early to tell us, oh, no, he's fine. He's in Paradise Valley or whatever it was. But then he surfaced in, I think, the Midwest or the South wrestling, and his head was shaved. And then he showed up in WWF, and then the magazine started covering it. That's the only person that I really at that time remember that it actually gained some traction. People thought he had died. I don't recall ever the Orndorff, and I know none of us did, because that would have definitely been something we would have talked about on the interview that we did with him in 03.
Yeah, it was more like what kids tell me and stuff like that. You know, back then, when kids talking to kids, you say, "Oh, that's why we haven't seen Orndorff." You know, because he left in '88. We didn't see him for many years until he showed up in WCW.
Yeah,
and then but they did say that about the Warrior. You remember the story about the Warrior? I don't want to get off the topic there. But you know, when he came back, that's a different Warrior, because the old one passed away and stuff like that. Because I did remember hearing about the Warrior and stuff like that.
Sure, I remember that.
Anyway.
1995, I think it was. 94 or 95, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I know. Even before that, when he came in '92, when he helped Hogan out, I remember hearing about that too.
Oh, yeah. But the rumors of a different Warrior was around 94, 95.
Yeah, like I was writing before, it feels like half my childhood is gone. Him, Piper, you know, the all Savage, you know, those are guys I grew up watching. You know, like I said, you know, I can tweet you about this. It was Orndorff, Piper, and Hogan. Those are the guys that made me love wrestling, man. If it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be here today watching the wrestling the way it is, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, I love the guy whether he was good or bad. You know, like I said, it broke my heart when he turned bad, but you know, he was good at his job, man. He convinced you. That's back then in wrestling. They could convince you that this guy's a son of a bitch, or this guy he's a great guy, or whatever, stuff like that. You know,
there's been a lot of heel turns over the years. There's been a lot of heel turns over the years. There's been a lot of backstabbing over the years in storylines, but there are very few that are labeled great betrayals. That's one of the greatest turns in the history of wrestling.
Exactly. Like I said, it was a kid that broke my heart. and then later on, his Andre turned on him and stuff like that. Sure. And then after a while, when everyone kept on turning, Hogan said, maybe Hogan deserves it. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Hogan was a good man, though, to me. You know, but like I said, you know, what about the shower shoe story? You ever heard about that one, him and Vader?
Sure. I mean, you know, a lot of these guys had locker room brawls. There were a lot more brawls that have happened back then that are not even talked about this day, because these guys would settle it, you know, behind the scenes. They would settle it in the locker room. And, you know, there's some people out there that are very, very old school that they don't even reveal half the fights. There's a lot of fights that we'll never, ever know about. But some just get out of control to the point that they take a life of its own. And that happened with him and Vader. Then you think of what happened with Sid Vicious and Arn. I mean, there's some that take a life of its own.
Yeah, well, that shows you what a tough guy was. I think they was able to take a guy like Vader down the way he did, at least the stories that I was told, and stuff like that. And he was like half his age by then.
Yeah.
Like that. He was, you know, he was legit, man. That's what I always respected about him. He was always a legit guy. I'm glad he was, you know, got a second chance at WCW. It looked like he was like on the tail end of his career, but he really picked it up with him and Roman and stuff like that. And we actually liked their team, and I wasn't a big Paul Roman fan, but Paul Orndorff put a lot out of him. You know, I'm sure he really appreciated his dad. I don't know if Roman talked about him at all and stuff like that.
That's good. Yeah, it's a good point. I actually didn't hear anything about Paul Roman saying anything. I got to go check that out. I'm sure he did, but, you know, I'm going to go seek that out. That's actually something very interesting. I want to check that out. Very interested in that.
Yeah, no. And on a personal note, you know, sad about his dementia, because, you know, that's what my grandmother got. You know, she was 93 eventually, but, you know, on a person, you know, very sad, because I never got to see her, you know, before she passed. That's one thing I always regret.
It's no joke.
Dementia. Yeah.
But at least he didn't have to suffer too long, you know.
Yeah, well, at least 5 years, I think she had it.
Yeah.
So, but she lived in Florida, so I didn't get to see her that much. So, you know, something I was thinking about, you know, trying to get over the topic.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, listen, my friend, have a nice weekend. I appreciate you calling in. Great talk about Paul. Definitely warrants it. And Enjoy SmackDown and enjoy Slammiversary if you check it out and Money in the Bank.
All right, man. You too.
Take care, my friend.
Take care, bro.
Be well. Bye. Good evening. You're on. Who is this? Oh, we lost him. I shouldn't say we lost him because it could have been a her. We're at 2 hours and 19 minutes. We'll go a little bit longer. 225-366-8669 or 833-366-8686. Maybe we'll go like another 15 minutes. Give it a shot. So let me just reset this here. And I see a few people trying to call in at the same time. So, the software is not perfect, but it does what it needs to do for the time being. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, DT, how you doing, man?
Good. Who's this?
Good. This is Rain Entertainment, man. How you doing?
Good. Hey, what's going on?
Good, man. Yeah, sorry I haven't been watching it too often. I just want to get an update on your father. How's he doing, man?
Pretty good. My vacation should have been twice as long. But, we're back, and I'm actually glad that we're right back in the swing of things. And, so far it's been a pretty decent week to be a wrestling fan, and I am really looking forward to this weekend. 3 shows, it's going to just carry into Raw, and I think that vibe is going to be around for a few months. I mean, I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. After the next couple of weeks, if anybody really has big complaints about what they're watching, they should not watch wrestling anymore. Wrestling is not for them. There's going to be so many twists and turns and surprises, and the energy from fans on top of it. This is going to be a great time to be a wrestling fan. And not just for one product. They should really experiment what's out there.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just have a quick question for you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So, I'm a ruthless aggression brat, right? That's the generation I grew up in. So I've kind of, fatigued with professional wrestling, with a mixture of, just getting older and, it being kind of overproduced. I've just kind of, it's whatever, I appreciate what Roman's doing. I appreciate Drew carrying Raw. It's not an easy thing, especially during the pandemic. But you're a wrestling historian, so you've seen it all. For me, I feel like the one thing that I should see before, I call, I don't know, my viewership on wrestling, kind of put it away, is seeing Cena and turn heel at this age of his career, right? That's one thing he wants to do. Maybe you can do a Goodfellas type of vibe, or or some Scarface storyline where the hero becomes corrupt by power, the 17th world title. That's something I want to see. So for you, and I know you've seen it all, and it might be a tough question, but what's one thing you want to see before, you call it quits with, I don't think you'll ever call it quits with wrestling, but when you're done, what's the one thing you haven't seen that you just want to see in professional wrestling?
If AEW gets a little bigger, I would love, even if it's done for charity, a little, show where you have both sides facing each other. The problem is, the wins and losses on both sides will probably be equal, and we'll probably have some no contest and double countouts, double disqualifications. It's a lot more difficult than you think. When you have $1 billion company, I don't think they want to give any rub to AEW, even if it was for charity. I'm not copping out when I say this, but I'm with you about Cena turning heel. And I think, I have been saying for 16 years. It was 2005 when I first started saying it. I said, John Cena is not turning heel, everybody. And as the years went by, little attitude, he's bringing back Dunkanomics. He's not turning heel. The only reason why I'm starting to think otherwise after all of this time is because John Cena on social media, he still does things for kids, no doubt about it. But him being a role model, right now it feels to me that he is more of a role model to young adults than the kids. Because now, being in a lot of the Hollywood movies and him getting older, now married, if he has kids, he's not the guy that was all cartoon and, superhero back in the day. Now he's just comes across as a guy that you wouldn't mind hanging out with, having a couple of beers and just talking shit. So it feels like Cena's got more of a focus by young adults, teenagers, 20s, young adults, not necessarily 8-year-olds that want to wear the "you can't see me" stuff. I think that has gone away because he's not on TV anymore. So if Cena was going to turn heel, this is probably the best time, maybe not in 2021, but if he's going to do it, it's probably as he gets older, there's more of a chance because he's now entering different demographics. His demographics are no longer the, 8 to 14. Now his demographic is a little bit older, and as the time goes by, it goes older and older and older, and he could follow the footsteps of The Rock and do the Hollywood stuff that he thinks his shit don't stink, and he thinks that he's bigger and better than everyone else. So I think it could happen. Yeah,
exactly. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. So
I'd grown up in the ruthless aggression era. So I'm 21 right now. So he's kind of we're his audience, you know what I mean? And it's of course, he couldn't turn heel back then, right? He had obligations like Make-A-Wish and whatnot. And as much as the internet wants to ragdoll him and call him Super Cena, it's the man had obligations to fulfill, you know what I mean? And
I don't even think Cena wanted to turn heel back then.
Yeah, well, weren't there rumors in 2012 he was going to turn heel, but they just
yes,
had stopped it or something, they made a costume or whatever.
Yes, but like you said, his demographic is changing. He's now appealing to older fans and not the kids as much anymore.
Exactly, and especially also you can also see with Hogan, right? I feel we couldn't appreciate him in black and white if there wasn't the red and yellow, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of I don't know, man. That's just kind of something that I really want to see. But yeah, man, thank you for taking my call, man.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right. Have a great night.
Talk to you later, boss.
Take care. I'll say this, everybody. I'll add to one thing that he just said. He brings up Hogan. That is a great example. Hogan in 84, if you even want to go 83, when he caught a lot of momentum from Rocky III, you go 83 to 93, you have a lot of kids in the audience wearing the Hogan bandanas, the Hogan shirts, imitating Hulk. Then you started getting around 94, 95, and Hulk was still beloved by young fans, but it was getting a little bit tiresome. And a lot of those kids that were kids in the 80s were now teenagers and young adults, and they didn't find Hogan as appealing as before. So when he turned and joined the NWO, and he started wearing the black and white, and they were doing everything they were doing, they became badass. So you go back and you watch the fans that were all into NWO. They were young adults, 20s, 30s. You had older fans as well. But a lot of those 20-somethings were Hulkamaniacs in the 80s, and now they wanted badass Hogan, heel Hogan. That was cool. So Cena could end up in the same scenario where a lot of kids that were doing the "you can't see me" 12, 13 years ago are now in their 20s, and Cena turns heel and he might appeal to them. So that would be interesting, be very interesting. So let's keep it going. We'll take maybe 3 more calls. Sam is doing weed right now. Hey, if it's legal where you are and you want to smoke it, by all means, man. So once again, don't forget, we'll take some calls on Sunday. Your feedback from Money in the Bank. We'll take some calls on Monday as well. So we will have plenty of time to talk. So, but if you want to call in last minute and we'll have some convo, absolutely. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Toy, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, what's on your mind?
It's Steven. I think I called last time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, how you doing? And, first of all, I just want to say, like, are you getting married? Is that true? Or
Yeah. Yeah. I've been dating someone for almost 9 years. I got engaged in November of 2019. It was pretty cool because I got some awesome congrats from people within wrestling. But COVID postponed everything for over a year. And now, you know, I know COVID is still, you know, be a problem in a lot of areas, but I've been vaccinated since February. So now, I mean, it's to the point where, you know, a lot of life has to go on. And the people that are not vaccinated, they're taking a risk. But you can't shut everything down again because a lot of people don't want to get vaccinated. You're playing Russian roulette, you know, so life has to go on, and as me. So, yeah, I now have to, you know, start getting the ball rolling. So Saturday, I have to go to a wedding hall and start looking into dates, and then, you know, start picking it up a little bit.
That's good, Don Tony. You know, you can't take nothing for granted. You know,
No.
Even when. Yeah.
And she's a wrestling fan. You know, she's not a big wrestling fan, but she's a wrestling fan. She watches it every week. So, you know, the fact that she's a wrestling fan and she has no problem with me doing this, as long as it doesn't interfere in what we like to do, I mean, you can't find anything better than that. I mean, finding someone who happens to like wrestling also, but, you know, that's a home run.
Yeah. You know, if you invite me, you know, I'll get you a big gift. And,
You want to know something, honestly? We might end up keeping it very, very small because, you know, first of all, it's very expensive to have a wedding in New York. But a few people out there have given me the idea of live streaming it online for free, obviously. But I may actually do that. I may actually live stream it online so everybody can technically be a part of it. And, you know, I'll be able to shout out some people. I mean, I don't know if it's going to stream on YouTube or anything like that, but some of you out there gave me that idea, and I thought about it. I said, you know, that's actually not a bad idea. So I may actually live stream it for real.
That's awesome. Well, I only had a couple of questions for you, Don.
Sure.
Is that okay? So we've been seeing Adam Page lately with Kenny Omega in the couple of weeks on AEW. Do we see a match with them soon on the next pay-per-view?
I think it has to happen. I mean, we're back to live fans, and the one thing, I don't know if you remember this, anybody remembers this, but I had said this late last year, that when we get back to live fans, what pro wrestling needs to do is it has to be almost like the giving back era, where, you know, you have to give more of the outcomes that wrestling fans want, not what wrestling fans need. Sometimes you have to put titles on people that we don't want to see titles on, but that may, in the bigger picture, may lead to someone else. That, you know, everything is a continuing storyline. So I think now we're going to see AEW give us some outcomes that fans truly, truly want as WWE. And one of the things that the fans really want is Hangman Page being champion. They're not going to troll AEW fans. If Page doesn't win the belt in Chicago, he will win it shortly thereafter. I mean, I think we're going to see a big title change happen in New York as well. So, yeah, I see that match happening sooner than later, and we'll probably see more than one match against those guys.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you know, the same shit every day, change it up.
Yeah, it's going to change up. It's going to change up. That's why I say, you know, I think everyone out there, if you see people really complaining, you know, a couple of weeks from now, then they really should not be watching wrestling. Wrestling is not for them. I know it gives them the most attention and the most conversation and the most, you know, feeling part of a group online, but wrestling is not for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Adam Page deserves it. You know, he's been like working hard every year. You know.
Yeah, and he'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident he'll get it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's not him, then who? He'll get it.
Yeah. My next question was, so I think you were talking about Goldberg earlier in the show. So does that mean that he's gonna probably face Lashley and not Brock no more?
Who knows? I mean, I know a lot of people out there are immediately talking about Lashley versus Goldberg. To me, it feels like Goldberg versus Reigns is what's needed, simply because that's what if you remember when Goldberg cut his promo on Drew, or actually, no, I think it was Goldberg cutting his promo on Drew, and he was talking about the back and the locker room and stuff. It just was the weirdest promo because it felt like, okay, Bill, that promo was supposed to be for Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? It's not Goldberg's fault, but a lot of us thought Goldberg was going to be fed to Roman Reigns. And it feels like the more likely scenario is Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. I know no one is talking about that right now, but it would not surprise me if unless they're going to go Reigns versus Cena, which is, you know, the buzz. I don't like Lashley versus Goldberg. I mean, yeah, spear, you know, on both sides, but I don't see that amounting much to anything. Let me put it this way. If Lashley is still champion and he takes on Goldberg, Lashley will keep that title. Lashley will end up defeating Goldberg, which is, I think, what everybody would want anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like he has a couple of years of his contract left, and I don't mind watching him. You know, he's a great wrestler. When he was younger, also.
Yeah.
But so Brock is maybe, so not yet.
No one knows. No one knows.
Oh,
no one.
Yeah.
None of us are friends with Brock. None of us are friends with Daniel Bryan. None of us are friends with anybody. No one has it like that. Anybody saying that they're guessing. And if they guess right, then they'll suddenly act like, oh, I had sources. No one has those sources. Right now, it's just a guess. My guess is Brock Lesnar does come back.
Okay. Oh, it was nice talking to you, Don.
Yeah, have a great night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all the shows this weekend. It's going to be good.
I'm excited for your wedding.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Take care, man.
Have a good night.
You too. I think we'll take one more. Let's take one more for the road. Got to shout out a couple of very kind people out there, a couple of super chats in a moment. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hi, this is Mark Anderson.
Hey, Mark. Good evening.
Hey, Don Tony. So, first of all, I'm happy, we're going to have the fans back, and it was just, when I saw, the breaking news that Goldberg was going to come back and, as a way to, get the fans back and, and see the sort of, funny reactions of the, yeah. Sorry.
No. I understand what you're saying. I mean, look.
Yeah, so
it's fun.
When I saw the breaking news that Goldberg was going to come back, as an effort to get the fans back and to see, I knew I was going to see the hateful reactions, of the wrestling fans, because I'm a big fan of Goldberg, but you got the wrestling fans, the so-called wrestling fanboys that hate on him, because oh, he's coming back, he's going to be the new star or whatever. And, you know, so, I mean, I knew I would see the funny reactions like, oh, boy, you know, now they're bringing Goldberg back. And then I was saying to myself that I was saying, well, you know, why do they have to depend on, like, a 50-year-old superstar in the past to, like, you know, get fans back? Is it WWE's inability to, like, create new superstars? Like, that was another thought I had in my head.
So it's a little something for everyone. I mean, I brought this up a couple of times recently. When Ricky Steamboat came back and had the match with Jericho, everybody loved it. I mean, we all like nostalgia. All right, you might like it in movies. You might like it in a TV show. You might like it with old-timers games for baseball. A lot of us like nostalgia. And Goldberg still physically looks good. He could still move around a little bit. He's only got a 2 to 3 match deal per year, and there's only 2 years left. And he's going to be this much part of the show. If you really don't like Goldberg that much, go to the bathroom. Go walk the dog. Go make a taco, make some popcorn, you know, do your laundry. You know what I mean? Like, go watch some porn. Like, let the people out there that enjoy Goldberg or did or are still a fan of his, let them enjoy it. You know, I mean, the funny thing is that the people out there that make fun of fans that are over the top with AEW, these people that make fun of those fans are just as bad. They're doing the very same thing that they make fun of other people for, just like the Goldberg. Oh, come on. At the end of the day, we're all wrestling fans. Ooh, shit. I think, hopefully I didn't fuck things up. You know, like, everybody likes someone different. You know, some people like nostalgia, some people don't. Fine. Let the people that like nostalgia like it. You know, some people like someone else that I may not. Let them like that person or let them like this. You know, it's a little bit for everyone. And it shouldn't be, all right, everything I like, I praise, and everybody I don't like, I shit on. You know, it shouldn't be that way. And the Goldberg stuff, like I said, is going to be this much. It's 2 to 3 matches, and that's it. You know, there are people out there that are Goldberg fans. And
well, you know, it's like, I mean, just as long as, and I feel like some people, you know, just as long as he, you know, comes in and, you know, puts over a star like he did with Drew McIntyre. Because I was, like, really afraid, like, Gutters, oh, boy, you know, he's going to defeat Drew McIntyre, and he put him over. So if he comes in, if he puts, like, a Lashley, like you say, if he puts him, like, over, you know, if Lashley beats him, then people would be fine with it. But people wouldn't be fine with another, like, Goldberg title run. Like another part-timer winning the title and then not defending it and all that.
I don't see that happening. And the funny thing, I'm glad you brought up Drew, because that match was about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just think of how much people got triggered for a 3-minute match that Goldberg lost. I don't think people, you know, some people out there should be talking more. If they had that same passion in finding work, finding a mate, you know, like getting that passionate and triggered over Goldberg for a 3-minute match that he lost, I think some people's priorities are way out of whack.
Yeah, they need to find better priorities in their life and focus on things, you know, that improve their life. You know, it's like that happens on social media where you see people, they just complain about everything all day and just be angry and mad instead of, you know, and it's like, you know, go outside, you know, like, you know.
There's nothing wrong with letting people enjoy someone that you don't, you know.
Yeah.
Sting, I mean, so many people had so much horrible stuff to say about Sting. And, you know, well, when he first signed with AEW, like, people are making, like, all these wise-ass jokes, you know, and laughing and people going along with it. And I got news for you.
Wow.
AEW has done a pretty damn good job with Sting so far. He has not embarrassed himself. He's been within his means. So, if you don't like it, let the other people that do like it, let them enjoy it. You don't have, people out there don't have to whine and complain about we don't need to know every single time that you dislike someone. All right, you don't like Goldberg. You don't need to tweet 50 times that you don't like Goldberg. It sucks, this, and that, because, focus on the people that you do like and let other people enjoy the people that they're. It's funny because Karrion Kross is the one that seems to be triggering a lot of people right now because he is NXT Heavyweight Champion. There are a lot of people out there that don't like Karrion Kross, not because he's a heel.
Really? That's I thought they did.
They think he's bland.
A lot of people didn't like
they think that he's bland. They think that he doesn't tell a story in the ring. I disagree wholeheartedly. But my point is that, okay, you don't like him, fine. I respect that. I do. But I'm not going to criticize them if they like someone else that I don't. I've had people say to me, QT Marshall is not all that bad, DT. He's not their favorites, but they'll say to me, I like QT Marshall. I don't make fun of him. I'm like, all right, cool. I totally respect that. Some people tell me about Baron Corbin. They're like, hey, he's not as bad as what he used to be. I still can't get it. So just people out there, we don't need to know every single person you dislike. We don't need you to tell us 1,000 times how much you dislike a particular wrestler. Because
we don't need to hear that. And I like Goldberg too. I like Goldberg, and I'm a fan of his. I mean, it's great to see him. You don't see as many So I just enjoy it.
Those
and
people.
I try not to worry about. I laugh at the reactions that people have and everything, but I try not to let it get to me. But I enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's look.
And I don't hate on anybody else that enjoys a wrestler that they like, and I don't, people should just enjoy it, I
ripped the crap out of Goldberg beating The Fiend. I hated it.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
look,
that
was like most of us. I hated that too.
If something happens on TV that sucks, if there's a creative decision on WWE's part that we all disagree with, we'll all vent. And we'll definitely complain about it. But until that happens, I'm going to watch it and enjoy it. And like I said, people got tremendously triggered for a 3-minute match against Drew that he lost. Was it so bad? It wasn't bad.
Yeah, because I said I bet I love Goldberg, but I think the fans are gonna. I'm glad the fans are gonna coming back, but I think they're gonna boo him. Out the building or something. They're gonna boo him.
Could happen.
Hate on him.
It could happen. Then again, it may not. I mean, we don't know. But I'm going to go into it with an open mind, just like I went into it with an open mind with Sting. I went into it with an open mind with Mark Henry and Paul White and everybody. Well, not everybody, but, a good chunk of people, the usual suspects, ripping all. And what have they done? Have they had matches? No. We got to take a step back and let it play out on TV. If it sucks, then we obviously should criticize it and complain about it. But if it doesn't amount to what people are getting so upset for, then, it's a little ridiculous. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, all right, my friend.
All right, thanks for
have a good weekend.
For taking my call.
You're welcome. All the best. Take care.
All right. Take care.
All right. I think we're done with calls tonight. I think we're going to start wrapping this up. Bringing it home, as they say, in wrestling. Rain Entertainment. Rain, you know what you could do? If you want to, and this goes out to any of you out there, if you want to email me, dontony@dontony.com, your phone number, I have no interest in calling you. Don't have to worry about that. But hear me out. If you want to email me a number that you want to use to call into the shows in the future, the software I'm doing, I'm going to be putting up a contacts list. I'm going to equate names to the numbers. Not for any personal, but the reason why I'm saying that is that, I could spot your call calling in. Oh, that's Rain Entertainment. and then I could take your call. I mean, I don't want to take your call over others. I'm not trying to say that, but if I have a contacts list, it's a little bit easier to just, know sometimes who's calling in advance than just seeing area codes and, wondering who's going to be calling in. So you could do that. Charlie, if you sent me an email, if I haven't gotten back to you yet, then there's two reasons. Either one, there's a ton of emails that I'm still going through, or number two, it might have I don't know what it was. Because sometimes I get these emails asking me like 50 questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm not trying to be pen pals. You know what I mean? Like, if you have questions for the shows, post them away and I'll be more than happy to answer them on the shows. But you'd be surprised. I mean, I could show a screenshot to someone right now. Someone emailed me 14 questions. And like, I'm reading this, I'm like, I appreciate the email, but this person actually wants me to email them back and answer 14 questions. I'm like, it'll take me an hour to type this all back, and I appreciate it. But, the email should be a little bit more specific. So, again, I don't know, I'm not kidding, Lee. I'm almost tempted to I would never out someone because this guy's just a wrestler. And I am going to answer him. But, I'm not going to do it within 24 hours. And if the guy says you didn't respond to my email and there's 14 questions, there's a reason why. I'm always responding to emails. But, just keep in mind that I got a full-time office job and I'm up here 5 days a week doing shows. And I'm also doing behind-the-scenes stuff for Patreon. Or, everything you see on Patreon, I'm the only one on Patreon. No one else sees that stuff. I'm the one that does all that, and I like doing it. I'm not complaining at all, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff going on. So just keep in mind that if you send me something really, really detailed, it might take me a little extra time to respond. But, I usually get back to everyone. May not type an email, but I will definitely mention it over here. Case in point. Courtney Summers. I will go back to Super Chats in a second. Courtney Summers, this was pretty cool. We were talking about the other day with wrestling figures and merchandise, and she ordered from Pro Wrestling Noah, I guess, a Marufuji shirt, and they not only sent her the shirt, they sent her back hand sanitizer and a mask from Japan. They actually sent her like extra gifts, and it's all like COVID related stuff. And she sent that to me, I think yesterday. That shirt is fucking awesome, man. That shirt is pretty cool. I'm actually seriously thinking about getting one. I just love the colors. Somebody sent me a link to this like Hawaiian looking shirt that has all 80s wrestling on it, all retro 80s wrestling. And I think I'm going to buy the t-shirt version of it. If I wear that on this show, it looks so badass, but it is so colorful. If you just picture Jimmy Hart wearing those jackets, like the real like red and orange ones, that's what the shirt looks like. This is different though, because this is just fire and it's not consuming the whole shirt. But she sent that to me today and I thought that was pretty damn cool. So I like that. I like stuff like that. Yeah, it's a cool shirt. Like Courtney, if you see this, a lot of people in the chat are really enjoying the shirt. So that's pretty cool, man. Nero Faye wanted to shout out Muhammad and his mom for beating COVID. There is a friendly conversation going on between the two. If you just picture Middle East and, the feuding on both sides, here we have the opposite, which is wonderful. I absolutely love all of you that hang out each week, each show. And again, I enjoy the fact that everybody could have fun here and not have to worry about, being put down or made fun of simply for having a different viewpoint, even if it's controversial at times. There's no, like hatred here. You know what I mean? And I know for some of you out there that go back with me a long ways, that might feel a little bit awkward, they're like, this is not the DT that I remember. Well, you get 2 cancer scares, and right now, technically, I got prostate cancer. I'm just not on that Gleason level to get surgery yet, even though I'm leaning towards getting surgery because I don't like having to think about it up here. Then my father getting split open, earlier this year, my mom having major health issues, puts things in perspective. And, it just basically made me realize you got to enjoy yourself a little bit more, and then, and you see some people shed their true colors, people that I know, people that I don't, people that I trusted, people that I, wanted to trust. And it's not any one person. There's a lot of people. It puts your priorities in check. Then you see all this horrendous stuff going on in the world, the racism stuff getting way out of control, the violence, the destruction, COVID, it's just one thing after another. People, being discriminated on both sides, the white privilege stuff, that fucking pisses me off simply because, I know even with my dad, my dad worked 3 jobs for most of my youth. So just so we could have a roof over our head. And my father never graduated high school and still has a hard time reading sometimes. What is this word? What does that mean? So I just hate when people paint that broad of a brush. I don't think anybody out there should be judged based on the color of their skin, whether they're white or black, whether they're gay or straight, whether they're Indian or Irish. I think everybody should be based on them, their personality, their character, their trait. I don't think anybody should be given something simply because they're this or that. I'll never ever ride with that. So you change over the years. Edwin G. My friend, thank you. Hi, Ray Liotta doing the outro. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I got that through a friend. I honestly don't know if it's him. I was told that I was going to get, because Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time, that somebody was going to do a favor through someone. I thought it was going to be a cameo. And then I got that back, and it was custom, and I asked, someone to this day, is that him? What do you think? I don't think that's him, but it sounds like him. So I just, my friend said, do you like it? I said, yeah. He said, that's all that matters. And I agree. So I don't know. I don't know the complete answer. All I know is that somebody gave that to me as a gift, and I freaking love it. And that's how we are going to exit the show. Now, like I've showed you before, once we get this call-in software activated online, and especially with the context, that'll be cool because, like I said, when someone calls in, something like this will pop up, with your name already pre-made, so I don't have to sit here and start typing stuff. It'll pick it up almost like an ID. I just have to set it up that if it's a phone number and it doesn't match up to a screen name, that it doesn't post the phone number. See, that's the number one reason why I have not started this computer software and stuff like that. Because the last thing I want to do is start, even trolls. I wouldn't even post people's numbers as a troll. I may call them, and maybe, do one of those, soundboard things, but I doubt it. So everyone, I'm going to jet out of here. We ended up doing 3 hours, everybody. Time flies when you're having fun. I'll be here tomorrow night. Don Tony Show will be recapping SmackDown. It's getting late. We're going to recap SmackDown. We'll do predictions for the Money in the Bank. We'll do predictions for Slammiversary. We'll talk about the ratings a little bit more. I might have quarter-hour ratings tomorrow. So hit that like button on the way out. Everyone be well. I'll catch you tomorrow night after SmackDown. Night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.